Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft right, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft right, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it.
It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descended of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Yes. Welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar, reporting live and direct. How y'all doing out there in the building and whatnot on this good Thursday? I got one more day for this this strong before it gets wrapped up and whatnot. How y'all doing on this good Thursday and whatnot? I hope everybody is in good alignment. I hope everybody is in good mental health, good spiritual health, you know, all of the things that are essential. You feel me? Shout out to everybody in the building. All right. Let's go ahead and do roll call. Let's see who's in the building, and then let's get to the show and whatnot. All right. Let's get to the show. All right. We got Iowa. Okay. Shout out to Iowa and whatnot. I've never been to Iowa, but shout out to Iowa in the building. Okay. Tucker and not Carlson. Okay. Shout out to Tucker. Charleston in the building. All right. Charleston in the Charlestown in the building. Columbus in the building. Gainesville. We got Dallas, Texas, Detroit, Tough London, Gulfport, Mississippi, Peoria, Illinois in our building. We got Maiden, North Carolina. We got East New York and Cleveland. What about Bangkok, Thailand? What about Chicago in the building? Kentucky up in this thing. New Jerusalem up in this biatch. All right. Shout out to New Jerusalem. Shout out to Griffin. Shout out to Cali. Shout out to Detroit. What up, though? Lafayette, Indiana. Another Iowa. Okay. The Iowa caucus. Lawrence in the building. New Bedford, Massachusetts. Baltimore. Gainesville. Bermuda. North Las Vegas, Tokyo is in the building. Arlington, Texas, Indiana, Sanford is in the building. We got Miami in the house. Dirty South, ATL, Oklahoma City, the Bay, yay. Netherlands, we got Galveston, we got Cali. Man, we deep up in this thing, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. How was y'all day? How was y'all Thursday? I made sure to open this up after work. I was gonna go live while y'all were at work, but I said, nah, let me go ahead and broadcast when the fam is either on the way home or when they tuck nicely in their crib and everything is good. Then we could ride out. This is the mix. This is the ride out hour. Let's just do the rush hour show. This is gonna be the ride out and whatnot. You know what I mean? you know. We got Queens in the building. Shout out to Queens. Shout out to Rome, Bombaclad, Nashville, Tennessee. All right, baby London. Okay, South Side, Jamaica, Queens. Okay, you still at work? Yeah, we're gonna get you up out of there. You know what I mean? We're gonna take care of you while you at work. We're gonna make the hours go by with some of this information. Disclaimer before we even begin, ladies and gentlemen. This is the KTL War Report Part 4. Now, listen, if there wasn't a war going on, I would be talking about other things. However, because primarily, right, I don't want nobody to get kind of, why is he talking about war? Well, it's March, Okay, first and foremost, March. Blue pills broke that down. March translates to war. The mainstream media right now, currently, as it stands, if you're only tapped into the American media, and I'm speaking to the Americans, you are under the pretenses of heavy propaganda. Okay, you would fare better by having another source of your information. And to be honest with you, this quote unquote incident, I would call it, right? This incident is very important. Is very important. You know what I mean? Because it is going to have somewhat of an effect either on travel, either on a geopolitical quote unquote climate, right? You know, they got people packing, I'm gonna go to Dubai. Let's go to Dubai. Let's go blow about 10, 20 bands to go, you know, go to Dubai and take pictures like we are chic and whatnot. Yeah, those days are over. Let me go to Mexico. Let me go flex on the beach and, you know what I'm saying, dodge the cartel. Yeah. That might be over as well. I mean, you could still go, you know, you could still participate, you could still partake, but the allure is gone. The veneer is turpentine on that paint, my genius. You feel me? It's not that glow. You know, everybody wants to escape and go places. Let me go and escape. Let's go to a desert getaway. Yeah. Unless you could still go, but you're just gonna be going under the pretenses of wrong place, wrong time. If you get stranded, if some shit go down out there, you on your own. It wasn't like that a few weeks ago. How do you think spring break is about to be? Well, we're talking about spring breakers. So these are the younger class, right? These are the younger quote unquote demographics. They are not necessarily affected by damn near any. I remember when I was young, I was in Miami when they went to war with Iraq. When September, what was it? No, it was 2003. And they carried out what you would call it, shock and awe. I remember being right in Miami at the hotel. It was spring break and whatnot. Did we stop? No. Ain't that didn't stop anything. You know what I'm talking about? We kept going. We was doing, you know, we was fully into the hedonism that time. You know what I'm talking about? We was knee deep into the fuckery on Miami, on South Beach for that weekend, and the war didn't have nothing to do with it. However, this is a different day and time, and we're dealing with a different quote unquote environment. It's just shit is the world is just different. Melanated brothers and sisters, you know, I don't think that your travel is necessarily going to be affected by what's going on geopolitically, globally. You know, you're not necessarily in the scopes. And if you were to be put in anyone's scopes, then that would just be so unfair. You know what I mean? Like, why put us in the middle of anything? We just trying to mind our business. You know what I'm talking about? We don't got nothing to really do with this. This right here, this is white on Aryan violence. You know what I mean? This is once again, you know, the European, the colonizer, the imperialist, the Roman and whatnot. And you know, when in Rome, Rome is doing what Romans do. Rome is doing what Romans do. They are marching forward to, you know, on some imperialistic quote unquote empire type shit, right? Rome is going to do what Rome does. The $1 million question is, are you going to be a part of what the Romans do? Are you going to be the Carthaginian whilst in Rome, or are you going to are you going to bend the knee and become a Roman? If you booted up waiting for that call from Pete Hegseth, my nigga, you're Roman right now. If you booted up, if you like, man, send them my way, you know. Yeah, that's not really gangster right there. I don't know about that. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that. You're a part of the empire. Those of us who standing on the other side, yeah, we don't rock with the empire and we don't promote empire business and we're not empire lovers. You know what I'm talking about? That's not what we on. But we're in the audience paying attention, watching things go down. And what I'm doing is I'm documenting it. I'm very biased, by the way. Okay. I'm very biased. Okay. And I'm gonna root for who I'm gonna root for. You feel me? And you know who I'm rooting for. I'm gonna root for the underdog. You know what I mean? I'm gonna root for the underdog. You know what I'm talking about? All the time. And what I'm gonna provide is I'm gonna provide information that's well balanced. I'm going to provide information that may be lost in the propaganda cycle. I'm going to provide dissenting voices because if you just getting inundated by Fox 5 and all of this stupid shit, you need a balance. And that's what we're gonna bring. That's what we're gonna bring. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. I'm gonna touch on some topics and then I'll get to the main topic. All right. One of the main stories that are dominating my timeline right now is this McDonald's shit. Now, check this out. I haven't eaten McDonald's in a very long time. Everybody knows that McDonald's is a crocker-ish. Everybody knows the McDonald's, even the quality. When I did eat the McDonald's a while ago, the food that I was eating tastes nothing like the food of today. You know what I'm talking about? I snuck a bite of my son's burger one day and almost threw up. The shit was horrible. I'm like, my nigga, you'll never even experience the Big Mac the way that we experienced it. This is not even meat right here. So once again, right in alignment with this whole Epstein thing, right? About, the possibilities of them getting rid of their the possibilities of people showing up in the food supply. They put the McDonald's and the fast food burgers to the test, and it came to find out that the majority of these fast food meals have human DNA, and I believe it was excrement, DNA, and maybe horse DNA. I think it was horse, right? So then on top of that, there's a video going viral of the CEO of McDonald's. He don't even want to eat his shit, bro. He won't even. This is the most Poindexter looking CEO in the history of the internet, and he wouldn't even eat his own burger, man. So check this out.
Burger CEOs are all going viral, but only one of them is actually doing this correctly. The other one are just doing commercials. We don't want to watch commercials. We want some real accountability. The Burger King CEO is actually taking accountability for their food. If their food sucks, he is acknowledging it and trying to figure out what is going on. That's the whole point of these videos. It was to see if the burgers were good. He's like a taste tester. This other video where people were complaining to him about the nuggets. They're just disappointing. And so he's going, oh my gosh, we need to fix this. Now the other CEOs, they're treating this more like an advertisement. Like, oh, people are gonna watch me eat my burger. They're basically acting like influencers. The Burger King CEO is going underground and figuring out what is going on. So the other CEOs, they're basically following the pyramid scheme of their corporation. They're at the top. Now they have to become influencers. Oh God, right? And so they're making content. But the Burger King CEO, he is actually dropping out of being a CEO and going into the roots of his company, trying to figure out what is going on. Is the food good? Is it satisfying? It's kind of like undercover.
It's bullshit, sis. It's bullshit. It's window dressing. They know when they became CEO that this ain't real food. They know that they have carcinogenic food. They read the goddamn reports that it's been causing cancer forever. Okay? Forever. So, no, the CEOs of the burger companies need to be lined up and handled. They need to get you know what I'm talking about? They need to drop them niggas off in the jungle somewhere. And I'm talking about the jungle in LA. They need to drop them off around Crip Mac and them niggas. You know what I'm talking about? Because these are some criminals. They're not fucking CEOs. These are some criminals waiting to get caught. Okay? They are dealing with human meat. Do not for 1 minute think that all of these restaurants could sustain cow meat. The same way that these chicken spots cannot sustain chicken. Show me where all of these chickens are being raised. Please. I mean, I beg of you. Because niggas is eating a trillion eggs a day. Y'all not even letting the fucking chickens grow. You know what I mean? Y'all not even letting the chickens grow. The dairy industry, you feel me? Eggs, milk, and all of that. The math ain't mathing. So and this is my latest appeal to the health and the wellness of the family that's in the building. Once again, I'm not the healthiest eater. Pause. I am not getting up here acting like, you know what I'm saying? I'm the Sabi revival and whatnot. You know what I mean? I'm up in this bitch detoxing. You feel me? I'm up in this thing detoxing. All right, give me 1 minute, y'all.
Boss, but for short form video. That is what the CEO of Burger King is doing. Not like, oh, let me try the burger and be an influencer. He's actually taking us on this journey of going into his company and figuring it out. And negative things are going to come out, like your nuggets suck. But the point is, he is acknowledging it, and that creates trust.
So when I went to Colombia, right? When I visited Colombia, I didn't see 1,000 McDonald's up and down their streets. You feel me? They had somewhat of a nationality or a nationalization on their food. Okay. They definitely have somewhat of a nationalization. They're not letting these quote unquote murder king and all of these people in their country.
How do we learn from this as creators or artists? Don't be an influencer of your brand. You're not just eating your burger, or you're not just connecting to your product and being like, oh, this thing is perfect. You're becoming an investigator of your brand. You're trying to see like, hey guys, this is really good, or we need to work on this. This is not that great. So you are showing the negatives and the positives of your company and your brand. You're showing how human you are and how human your brand is, not being robots, you know, just eating your burger. That's cute, you know, Twitter 2010 or whatever, but you're actually being an investigator. This strategy creates trust. Now,
Yeah, she's dumbing out, bro. The fuck she talking about? Listen. And it's crazy. What do they eat in Colombia? Shoot, I saw a lot of they had more mom and pop type of things going on. They were eating the food that people were making. You know, it's not the healthiest. They had a lot of fruits. You feel me? They had a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. It's not like they was only eating meat. And the produce looks like it doesn't look it doesn't have BBLs and whatnot. It wasn't aesthetically nice looking. You know what I mean? Like how Kmart or Walmart or Target, yeah, their food is their fruits and shit like that. It looks, you know, it looks like it came out of the hair salon. You know what I mean? Like it don't even look real. Okay, their food look real. Their food look like it has some type of taste in it and whatnot. So they eat a lot of yuca, cassava, chicken. A lot of chicken was being. I saw a lot of chicken and stuff. You know, but yeah, and you know, they always had some type of vegetables along with it, and then they do the fruits in the morning. So they're not taken over by KFC. They're not quote unquote, you know, they don't look like they've been conquered by the American corporations. You can tell when the American corporations have their teeth sunk into a certain place, because all of the quote unquote franchises are spread across these countries, right? But Colombia did not have that. They're more locally. You can see it's more of a local brands and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, check this shit out. The hell?
What's really in this fish fillet sandwich? It's not just fish.
This shit keeps the oil fresh for months. Your body isn't a warehouse, but it stores these chemicals forever.
This isn't food, it's edible chemistry. Your gut will be inflamed after consuming these. You're not supposed to eat metal, but it makes the bread fluffier and eternal. This stops mold. It also stops bread from ever being real. Why do you think our food never gets moldy? This isn't tartar.
Who remembers when the bread used to catch mold and whatnot? You know what I'm talking about? Especially the Wonder Bread. That shit would go molded in like 3 days and whatnot. Who remembers molded bread, right? I remember molded muffins and donuts. If you didn't eat it in like 2 or 3 days, that would start. That shit went out the it went out the window a long time ago. And don't let me forget about slutty vegans as we move along. Don't let me forget about the sluts. Okay, we gotta talk about it. But yeah, they went ahead and started putting that goddamn I guess the same tire, the same shit that they put in BBLs, they must have put in the bread first. You know what I'm talking about? The bread got the BBL injections and whatnot. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's been up since then. You know what I'm talking about? Don't nothing spoil. Don't nothing spoil, bro. Henceforth, while some of that food is sitting in our large intestines and it weighs about 10 pounds, one burger.
Sauce? It's seed oil with fake flavors. You don't care though, right? You didn't order fish. You ordered shelf life. Still hungry?
You're already infected. Brain rot reels.
Yikes. So slutty vegan, Pinky, right? Pinky, they went bankrupt. Okay. The same woman who was selling Soylent Green, right? The same person, and I'm not gonna get up here and talk crazy about. No, I'm gonna talk crazy about her, because when KT was exposing that shit, right? Nobody wanted to listen to KT. They just wanted to eat them burgers, my G. I was there. I remember. They just wanted to eat them damn burgers that cost about $30 and whatnot. And when niggas heard plant-based, they thought it was like a plant. But nah, it was a chemical plant. The same type of plants that are making these goddamn buns that don't the buns that don't spoil and whatnot. That is the equivalent as to what is being sold in that Beyond Meat or Impossible Burgers and whatnot. That's not real food, y'all. That's Soylent Green. Okay. That shit didn't do anybody any good. And to be honest with you, they was calling you a slut when you walked into that store. So you mean to tell me, respectfully, that y'all called me a slut and all type of derogatory things? I think I got called a slut with a child with me before. Hey, slut, welcome, ho. I'm like, damn, just for a burger? I gotta get lamb. I gotta get called a hoe. I gotta get called a slut because I want some fries. And the fries was like $20. So Pinky Cole was having vision board parties for $2,000. Okay. The whole thing behind slutty vegans is that they call you a slut, right? Everything about it was slutty. And to be honest with you, I don't know if the slut campaign in Atlanta really started picking up after slutty vegan, but a lot of vegans turned sluts, okay, around the same damn time. Think about it. A lot of vegans went slutty. There's vegans on Pornhub right now. Salute. There's vegans from this community on corn sites. And I think that there may be a slutty vegan bag in the background. Like, listen. So they were charging $30 for the burger, about $40 with $50 with fries and a drink. Okay. It wasn't real food, right? And there are some receipts that people have on Pinky and the whole slutty vegan movement, right? And they not just gonna let her just walk away into the sunset like that. They want to talk to sis, like sis. And what's going on with these businesses going into bankruptcy? What's up with the uncles nearest, right? They was out here selling liquor, selling spirits to the people, trying to get on with the liquor, and that shit fell apart. Now they got all of these white folks handling them all type of way, like dragging them and whatnot. They dog walking Uncle Nearest. I saw a video with a white guy, like a banker. He was dog walking them. There was this whole craze in Atlanta from like 2020 where every single meal was $40 and up. Yeah, those days have to end. And it ends with this fucking bankruptcy right here because she was the face of that shit. Okay? She was the face of that. She sold Slutty Vegan and bought it back. Yeah, how did that work? What went wrong is three things. One, the economy changed. In 2020, that was the PPP money that they was throwing out on them damn $30 burgers and whatnot. Two, people started wisening up. They got AI instead of Google and whatnot. Now you can ask ChatGPT, hey, what's inside of this Slutty Vegan burger? Okay, or what the hell is what are these? You know, people started to do the research and found out that plant-based wasn't a plant, it wasn't a natural plant. It was a quote unquote chemical plant-based. And number three, Bill Gates got his greasy ass, slimy ass hands in both Beyond Meat pause and Impossible. Right? He got his hands in both of them type of things. And all right, let me see if I could pull up the video. My good brother Quay on the beats. Quay did a video, and Quay broke down that the Beyond Burger stocks, right? Here you go. The Beyond Burger stocks are down 95%. How, Sway? How is your stocks down 95%? Who do anybody on here know what that means? Your stocks are down 95%? Astaghfirullah, what the hell could have happened? Huh? This shit was up. It was $200 something at its highest. It's down like Bobby Brown. The shit is about $5 right now, maybe $2, right? This is your mans in them. These are the people that they wanted us to basically follow and bet on. And you know what I mean? Because it was like a movement. And none of the vegan restaurants in Atlanta, I'm calling y'all out. Y'all was D-rodding Pinky and didn't want to call her on her bullshit. And there's a few restaurants that locked arms with her. Unfortunately, those restaurants got to get it too. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody that locked arms with somebody selling motherfucking Soylent Green in our community, and then you legitimize them by locking arms, you just as bad as them. Facts. You know what I'm talking about? You just as bad as them. And there's a lot of bankruptcy going on in Atlanta right now because people are not buying no expensive ass food that's not good for them.
This is the stuff that goes on in big packing plants. A bed of guts covering the whole floor. Now just hundreds or maybe thousands of pig heads. Oh, Jesus, man. More guts on the floor. Overflowing bins. What happens to all this? Shout out to David Olmos.
I don't want to look, it's too late. But if you still eating the meat, all that Mr. Tenderism shit, he needs to kick fucking rocks too. All of that, but Mr. Tenderism, no nigga, we not doing tenderism no more. Fuck is you talking about? Is that a tender plant, my G? We're not doing tenderism. Your ass is out here pushing ribs. You pushing sausages. Pause. And what the fuck is in a sausage? You feel me? So no, we cannot trust anything right now. They putting people in the food, bro. Like, let's stop playing dumb. Let's stop playing dumb. And people out here are complicit with the bullshit, and we cannot allow for shit like that to just fly. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. It's some people that need to be called the fuck out. Because when people were trying to call her out, they were blocking us. Nah, don't do that to Pinky. Don't. That's a black woman. She just trying to come up. Why y'all hating? Let me pull this video up. My dude Quay. Quay's going in. He's breaking it down so we could. He's doing it more diplomatic.
We back chopping it up, and I want to talk about some recent news that a lot of people have been talking about. I've been hearing a lot about everyone speaking on Pinky Cole and how she just filed for bankruptcy and everything like that. And I get how this is definitely a business move, good strategic. But to be honest, this video is not to bash Pinky Cole or not to speak negatively on her. This video is actually to speak on Beyond Meat and to bring some awareness to you guys, God, that I just came into the realization of. And that is that Beyond Meat stock has dropped 99% since 2021. Y'all heard that? 99% since 2021. And I'm going to put their stock on this video. Okay, somewhere right here.
I had said 95%. The shit fell 99%. What are we talking about?
Now, this is pretty crazy, okay? They're all-time high because, I actually like trade and I look at stocks pretty often. And when I saw this, I couldn't believe it. Their all-time high was $240. And right now, as of the recording of this video, their stock is at 79 cents. How do you go from multiple $100 stock to a penny stock in 5 years? That is crazy to me. Like, that's like a crypto rug pull. That's literally a crypto rug pull. Stocks are not supposed to do that. I get it. Stocks, they're still volatile, but they're not supposed to do that. Not in 5 years, So I'm just thinking, right? Any business owners, any restaurants who use Beyond Meat and depend on them for, your products and to make money, how do y'all feel about that? Because their stock can't just keep dropping and we expect them to still be in business. Like, what is it going to hit 50 cents in a few days and then what? Like, in my opinion, if I was a business owner and I use Beyond Meats for my products and I was really banking on them being in business, I would be concerned. I'll be very concerned about that. That's just a crazy stat. And, I think a part of it is due to just the whole processed vegan food trend is not there anymore. Like in 2021 and 2020, when What the Health came out.
Processed vegan food, right? Now, there's a quagmire when it involves, the flesh. Some people balance it out, right? Like right here, meat should be 25% of the diet, right? I'm not one of those people that say 100% and no meat. No. I'm not him. I'm not that person. I'm about balance, right? But I'm also about knowing if you're gonna eat something, you better eat something that's right? You need to eat something that you know what I'm saying? The fuck? So remember the documentary, What the Health? What the Health started a trend. What the Health made veganism trendy. It made eating healthy trendy. And there were businesses that took full advantage of that quote unquote shift. What the hell? Remember What the Health, right? Or What's on Your Fork, right? These are those Netflix documentaries that just help to push this whole movement into the forefront and whatnot and made it more popularized.
Everyone was so hyped to be vegan. You know, everybody was like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm saving the animals and the environment and all that stuff. And then, you know, Beyond Meat was like, yeah, we're here. We got y'all. And then, you know, you eating Beyond Meat for like a few months, going on a year. And you're like, why am I spending all this money on this processed burger that I could actually make myself with some black beans and some chickpeas and veggies? You know what I'm saying? Like it's convenient, and yeah, it has that meaty texture and all that stuff. But in this economy, the way this economy is going, the dollars just didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So like it's just really crazy to really.
That's coconut that he's chopping. Somebody asked, what is he chopping? That's coconut. And he's putting it in his whatever this drink is that he's making and whatnot. But that's coconut water. For the record, if you're 100% vegan, salute to everyone that's out here with their food choices. What I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna basically sit here and be the food expert on what to eat and what not to eat. There are people in our communities that will get up here and drop it, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna shame anyone, I'm not going to judge anybody. But I will say beyond any reasonable doubt that everything is pointing to the fact that the meat is a no-go, right? Especially if you live in the United States of America. Now, if you live somewhere else where it may be a little bit different, I might understand that. But from the looks of things, processed food, these goddamn meats and whatnot, yeah, that's a no-go. Why is the coconut water red? I think it's beet juice already in there. The brother's making a concoction. It's not just regular coconut water, as you can see. He's making a concoction. So whatever the concoction or the elixir is, it has coconut water inside of it. Okay.
See it. Like
Yeah,
I
he
knew
making
the trend
coconut
was fading,
Kool-Aid.
you know, and we've all seen it, you know, even with the like literally a lot of these vegan restaurants are getting it hard, including not just Slutty Vegan. Other restaurants are getting hard because, you know, the vegan trend is not as popular as it once was, you know? Like I talk to business owners like all the time about that, and they're like, yeah, that Slutty Vegan wave kind of died out. And the good thing about that wave is that in the moment, it lifted a lot of businesses up with it. And I do like that about Pinky Cole. On her come up, she was bringing a lot of people with her, you know? She was promoting their brands. She was having people send PO stuff to her PO box. She was wearing it. Like that stuff is really dope. And I definitely respect that, you know? But like, man, the craving of the fast food vegan and just that whole I'm just trying to eat vegan, where to eat vegan, like that, it's like it's just not really there, right, as it used to be. But what I am seeing grow is the businesses who don't use soy, who don't use, you know, processed meats, who make their stuff in-house. They are blowing up. Their products they are like constantly busy. And I'll throw some examples out there. We got RHW, Royal Health World. Their stuff is going crazy. They make all their meats in-house, their cheeses. We got Plant-Based Zoe. They got a fire burger they make in-house. They have a voodoo and a shrimp burger, fire. And then we got Purely Plant, okay? They have a falafel burger along with an amazing menu, all right? You know what I'm saying? Amazing menu. But falafel burger, everybody done had falafels before. And these folks is really making some good burgers with falafels, you know what I'm saying? So, look, y'all let me know how y'all feel about Beyond Meat. And if you're a business owner, you know, are you concerned about that? If you're a business owner or just in general, like if you Like, how do you feel about Beyond Meat? You know what I'm saying? You think they're gonna stay in business, or do you even still eat Beyond Meat? You know what I'm saying? Let me know. And I just wanted to bring this to y'all attention. I'm not trying to bash nobody or speak negative. I'm just bringing awareness that Beyond Meat stock has dropped 99% since 2021.
Shout out to Blue Pill and the Farmy. I'm gonna have him on very soon so he could bring his he has a whole program for growing food and whatnot. Let me see if I could pull up something, one clip or something where Blue is demonstrating what he's doing and whatnot, because this is very important. You know what I mean? He even convinced me to start getting more serious about growing food in my house, and also the solutions that I could create, you know, with the you know what I mean, with basically turning my house, my spot into some type of instead of a food desert, turning into a food factory, right? So I'm gonna bring him on so he could break it down. I'll show you briefly as to what it is that the good brother is doing and whatnot, but I'll let him come through and explain it in further detail, okay, in the system. So you see all of these pockets of food on the wall. You see you see the green thing on the wall. Each one of these pockets is growing some type of food, right? So you have a wall mounted quote unquote grow process, right? There's a wall mounted growing process. Then he's growing all of these different foods and whatnot. Then he has a bag growing potatoes and whatnot.
Like the irony
And he's
is,
growing
niggas is planting
mushrooms.
potatoes.
No
Right?
offense.
So these are potato bags. You feel me? I had a potato in the cupboard that was growing vine on it, growing its root. So I'm looking for those potatoes. I took that potato and I put it right in dirt because that potato is gonna yield me 15 to 20 more potatoes. I put 3 of them in there, matter of fact. So this whole bag, and give or take a few months, is gonna be full.
Right.
Store them. You know what I mean? So this is how you operate in the capacity of how Joseph did in Kemet when he was creating a storehouse.
Right.
Farming surplus.
Farming
right?
surplus.
Did something.
Like I said, I'm gonna bring him on. He's gonna break it down.
Administration and left out to dry. We're speaking about what can we do with $40 billion instead of Argentina. We're speaking about there's people in this country that are starving, but why? When we can sow and we can reap and we can harvest and be the biggest producing food production. If they say that we don't make nothing up, that they say that we don't manufacture anything in America, but we have all of this farmland, and we have all of this foundational land here in this country, and we have all of this foundational land amongst us as networks, but we don't know what to do with it. Right out, small towns, big towns, all around.
Yeah, tap in with Blue. He has a whole kit that they put together on how they could come to your house or they could come to your city and show everybody basically how to set this up, because this is, you know, this is it right here, right? So as you can see, this right here is like a black cube. It looks like a Saturn cube. It's a huge black cube that he has in his basement and whatnot, right? So inside of this cube, okay, he's growing mushrooms.
Our first client, a young lady named Jessica, she just started Friday. So this is a week. Yesterday she.
This is our.
So inside of it, as you can see, they're inoculating the shrooms.
All white bricks.
These are lion's mane. Okay, let's not don't call the people on him. This is lion's mane. These are all legal shrooms.
So this would be racks and racks and racks. Oh, okay. We'll be growing 80 bags per.
So he just started that, and that is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to bring him on, and we're going to let him, bring the solutions, because the solutions are very important, right? We've been dealing with the problems, we've been identifying the problems, but it would be criminal of us to not speak on the solutions when we're actually focused on them as well, okay? It would be wrong for us to just gloss over the fact that we are actually growing food and we figured out some things and whatnot. And these are some of the things that we could bring, to anywhere that we go. You know what I mean? This is a skill that we could take with us anywhere that we're at. Okay.
What was the ticket for this whole setup?
Nowhere next to
We're
nothing.
up to about outfitting a whole home. And
That's the
that
brother H
will
Factor.
generate 15, 20 grand a month.
Babe.
Feel me?
So they're generating about 15 to 20 grand a month with the food that they're growing, right? With the operation that they have, it's yielding 15 to 20 grand. So there goes your rent, there goes your bills, there goes money to put back in and whatnot. And then after a few months, it's all profit.
Because I could feel the oxygen in here. It's oxidated.
Right? So they're giving us more of what we need.
Babe.
So they're cleaning your house.
I'm ready, yo.
And the smells.
All right. So shout out to them. We're gonna do a whole show with H Factor and Blue Pill and the Farmy and whatnot, so they could really lay this shit down and just get the information out there and whatnot. And it's he's learning, like he's grown so much in the past 3 months. His green thumb has grown so much. Blue kind of disappeared for a minute. Nobody really heard or seen Blue, but Blue has been building, Blue has been working, Blue has been planting, Blue has been doing things off of camera, right? So solution wise, you feel me? So the family could benefit from it. That's coming, I believe he's in New York. So as soon as next week, because he has to talk about his 4-4 lecture. So I think by next Monday or next week, we're gonna have the good brother on the show. But let us continue and what we was doing and whatnot. Let us move on. So now we know that the whole plant-based thing and the slaughterhouses and all of that type shit. Yeah, we know that's not, we not really with all of that. And for the record, when I say meat, I'm not talking about red meat. Pause. I'm talking about chicken and fish only. Poultry and fish. I am not promoting no type of red meats, nothing, none of that, none whatsoever. All right, so let us continue.
Occupancy in the US in 2025 was down 62%. Wow. 62% decline in hotel occupancy in 2025. Now let's talk about Las Vegas. Las Vegas was down over 7% in 2025. What does hotel occupancy tell you about the US economy? Did you know that tourism generates over $3 trillion of economic activity in the United States every single year? $3 trillion of economic activity. This is only the first year out of 4. The main industry in Las Vegas, Nevada. So a 7% decline will be catastrophic. Remind you, if hotel occupancy is down.
So what is Iran doing in this quote unquote war? They are destroying hotel occupancy. They are destroying the Gulf Coast states and whatnot, bombing them into smithereens, right? These are, remember, Dubai and Bahrain was some of the safest places on the planet, right? Then you got Las Vegas. Who do you think is coming to the United States of America after Donald J. Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu have shown their fangs to the world and executed the fucking Pope of Iran? Right? Nobody is coming to America to come around and nothing even happened in America as of yet as a result of the fuckery that they're doing. There hasn't even been a real false flag event, but ain't nobody finna coming over here except them crazy ass Europeans, you know what I'm talking about, who are just basically colonizers who just travel around and enjoy their fellow brethren's colonization. Okay, those are the only ones that are stupid enough to come over here and throw their little euros around and whatnot. Other than that, nobody's coming to America. People from Latin America, they not coming to America because of the ICE shit. The Africans, you know, I don't even think that they are even allowed in America. They done put so much visa blocks on them. People from the Caribbean aren't necessarily coming to America like that unless they're coming to stay. I don't know. So the people that are coming are undesirables. Nobody really wanted them here any fucking way. They don't spend no money with us. They're not coming to break no bread with the melanated ones. So yes, this shit is falling. This whole shit is falling. Nobody is sleeping in their hotels. They should open it up for the homeless and whatnot, but we know that that's impossible, that they'll never do no dumb shit like that in this dog eat dog capitalistic society. They're just crashing the economy. They're just crashing the real estate. They just want to like Dr. Valentine said, they want to reforest some of these lands because they would rather grow food, right? They would rather grow food than to deal with the quote unquote the rent and all of this other stupid shit that they've been dealing with and whatnot. And there's a water crisis coming. The fucking data centers, right? The data centers need to go. I'm all for making cat videos with the AI, and I'm using Claude Cowork and all of that. I got the Claude bot right here set up. I got another computer with the Claude bot. I got 100 agents working for me. But I'll give all of that shit up if they never build one data center. Okay? If they never build one, that data center shit, that wasn't a part of my agreement when I signed on for the AI shit. They didn't have a bunch of data centers. What they're trying to do with these data centers is criminal. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. It is an acceleration of their quote unquote destructive ways and whatnot. They are literally taking up mad water with this shit. You know what I mean? They're literally taking up mad water with these data centers, right? So not only that, but the shit going on over there with Iran, right? The Iran situation, they're going to squeeze the GCC out of water, right? Because the Straits of Hormuz, it imports water and food. Remember, these people are in the desert. These fake billionaires are in the desert. They don't got no water. They're in the desert with oil. Okay? They don't got no water. They're in the desert with oil. So they're about to get strangled for that water and whatnot. And things are gonna get real. Water's gonna get real expensive. I think even more so than oil. If you knew what was good, you would put that shit somewhere. I don't even know how you store water, because do you store water? Yeah. They bombing these they bombing the motherfucking desalination and whatnot. They're bombing all of their quote unquote, they're bombing the oil refineries, they're bombing the water refineries. You feel me? They're playing a game to whereas, you know, when they put a country under siege and whatnot, they're giving them niggas an embargo, the type of embargo that they put Cuba under, right? The type of embargo that Gaza is under, right? No food, no water, shit like that. They got to drink seawater. Okay? So yeah, hold on one minute.
So will flight and airplanes. This is a huge recession indicator for the U.S. economy. Did you know we're being boycotted by the entire world? That is before the Israeli-Trump strike on Iran. We only had 1.4 GDP growth in the fourth quarter in the USA of 2025. The U.S. economy is in big trouble, and it is collapsing every single day. Hi, my name's Christina. I have a master's degree in business. If you felt that this was insightful and you want to know more about the economy, what's going on, drop a comment and follow for more.
Yeah, let us continue. Let's bring a little bit, because this is women's, today is March is Women's History Month. Yeah, let's get some mayonnaise in here.
I know it's Women's History Month and we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of Women's History Month, but right now, today, right in this moment, I would like to talk about the myth of the good white woman. We're talking about womanhood under white supremacy, the creation of this fake mythical creature to not just control white women, but to weaponize them. And it's usually leveraging some portion of their virtue or sexuality or lack thereof, right? Because a good white woman should be quiet and she should stand by her man and she should never get a divorce and she should be going to church every Sunday and she should literally be an extension of the good white man. And I talked about this a little bit last 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Whenever Pam Bondi, time is fake. Whenever Pam Bondi first went in front of Congress, right? Because she is good white womaning. She thinks that she'll be able to get out of the trap she's set for herself by standing up for these men, for blatantly disregarding the violent crimes they've participated in, or literally blocking the public's understanding of them. But a big portion of this good white womanhood is being very sexy, but not sexual. It is a direct descendant of puritanical culture that comes from the Puritans, but also from white supremacy. We're going to be talking about this today, tomorrow, maybe Saturday. We're going to talk about it on Substack. We're going to dive into it because I've watched as generations of women before me have broken from their good white womanhood. And that is causing the Christian nationalists to freak the fuck out. Yeah. Women getting educated, women walking away from marriages that don't serve them, women choosing not to have children, women who are saying, hey.
And to go back to what I've heard, many men have been accused of being, quote unquote, against women, and they don't like women because they're calling out the observations that our women, black women, melanated women, got caught up in the shit that white women was going through with their cavemen and whatnot, with their men who have through millennia, right, suppressed them. Okay. And they kind of, included our women, they hoodwinked our women. This is probably from a time where most of us on this call wasn't even alive. So we can't even relate as to what exactly happened. There's no point of reference, only like movies and whatnot. Melanated women, I don't know if the grandmothers or if the mothers even speak to our sisters and whatnot and tell them how the trap was set and tell them what actually was going on with black men and black women when these women were talking about suffrage, when these women were talking about with their men. And you got to remember, their husbands, the same men who were running the world, they were doing world wars and whatnot. They had power. They were having uncontested power and whatnot, and they still had a leash on their women. And for some reason, and somehow, in some way, they basically got our women to sign up with their struggle. Okay. And the shit has been upside down ever since. All right. It's been upside down ever since. And it was so subtle. And it was so social. It was such a socially engineered project. They did it through the TV and they did it through all of these different quote unquote avenues. But there was a humongous psyop that took place that has currently affecting us, because we talked about before the game of chess. And we spoke about the importance of the queen on the board and whatnot. However, we do know in the game of chess, when the king gets caught, is game over. But if your queen is compromised, then the king is always going to get caught in the game. Okay. So the queens have been compromised on this chessboard. So have the kings as well. The kings compromising came with cocaine. And before that, it was opium. And before that, it was that pimp culture. And before that, it was a little bit of, the numbers game and the shit like that in the 20s and whatnot. So a small, our men were being compromised by quote unquote, poverty. Okay, whatever we got to do to get out of poverty, we gonna do that. Whatever we got to do, if it's illegal, if it's the underworld shit, fuck, we gonna do that. We gonna get into it. We're gonna run numbers. We're gonna be policy bankers. We're gonna do some gambling. We're gonna do the prohibition. We're gonna run the illegal liquor. You know what I mean? We're gonna do all of that. We're gonna get into some underworld type shit. And then that led to them being compromised because they became pimps. There's nothing lower than a man who sells women for sex, right? And then after that, they got into this drug dealing and whatnot. And the crack era made everybody a fucking drug dealer because prior to that, everybody wasn't a drug dealer. You won many chess games after the queen got captured, right? I like, once again, the queen being captured is what you're looking at right now. Your queen has been captured, fam. The queens have been captured on this. If you say this is chess, not checkers, well, my nigga, the queens have been captured. Let's talk about it. Like, the queens have been captured, bro. They're not playing on your side like that. They're captured. They're compromised. Okay? When they put them in corporate America, they were captured. Whoever feeds her, whoever deals with her needs and whatnot, then she's calling another man a boss. She's calling another man a boss. Hello, boss. How you doing, boss? Sir? Fam. Nigga, that's captured. And then we'll come home and treat you like the help. So, yes, that is changing. They got this whole thing going down called entrepreneurship. Remember, I told you, I didn't even know how to spell that years ago. That's a new thing. You know what I mean? We did the show the other day where we did the recap. We were all on the show on 363 Empire. And we were all, all of the people that were responsible for this conscious community thing. And I wanted to say it, but, I don't know if I said it or not, but when I was out there in 2005, it was frowned upon heavily by every single black person that I probably known. There was like 2 or 3 people that supported that, but it was severely frowned upon. You're doing what? You're selling clothes? For who? For yourself? Who does that? So all of that, we working on out. Y'all was not working. No, that entrepreneur wave didn't come until like 2020. So this whole wave is not even a new wave. This is a very brand new thing where our women have gotten up from underneath this Caucasian to whereas he could just tell her what to do and how to do it and whatnot. We still trying to get up from under that because it's still to the point where I don't feel like we've completely wrestled ourselves away from their grip. I still have fear, Mom. I still have fear that I could be with a woman, a melanated woman, and a white man could tell her what to do and she'll just do that shit. She won't even think twice. Like, that's still a fear that I have. You feel me? You don't know how debilitating that is if some shit like that goes down in front of your face where a white man tells a woman jump and she just fucking jumps. You feel me? It's crazy. But they have somewhat of a control. Henceforth, why I'm hammering away with these videos, why I'm hammering away with these indictments and whatnot, why I'm hammering away show by show, clip by clip to try to get our people off of Rome's tits. Romulus and Remus, those were the twin dogs that they depict Rome as, and they had a human being suckling on a wolf. Romulus and Remus are the depictions. They're the zoomorphic representations of Rome. Two wolves, two dogs. And in their depiction, they have a human being suckling on a dog. That human beings are the people who are on Rome's tits. You know? That's what they are. You said boosters are king in Jacksonville, Florida. So I come from an environment, right? And I'm not using this as an excuse. I'm not using this as I'm just, when I tell my story, when I'm able to tell my story and I'm able to basically have other people on film just verifying what I said, it would make a lot more sense. Because what I'll do is I'm going to show when we were coming up what what the black women around us were doing, right? They were not going to work. You know, they were not going to work, and they were not selling their bodies. Henceforth, why you don't see me up here in full support of shit like that, of night, because once again, in New York City, that was not a thing. That is a new thing in New York. We have to fix our minds around that concept. That was not a thing. That came from down south. Okay? Women selling themselves and stuff like that. Not to say that wasn't happening, but that was not accepted in New York. That was not the rule. That was not something that was willfully accepted like that. We did not have strip club culture. We had Sue's Rendezvous, Hunts Point, and things like that, but it was always put in its own little section, just like everything else that's considered to be counter culture. So when I seen that, I was like, that don't sit right with me, because I grew up around the boosters, right? I grew up around women that would get up out and go and get it. The jostlers, they call them jostlers. They dug pockets and they boosted, and they took shit from the man. That's the women that I grew up around. And they also had that attitude like F the man. You know what I mean? They were anti-establishment, but not really like, you know, Angela Davis or nothing. They just was getting it how they live. They just getting it how they live. And they were not with degrading themselves. They were boosters, so they would dress up, they would look good and whatnot. They had the best cologne, the best perfumes, they had furs and whatnot. They was wearing diamonds and whatnot. They had the latest designer. Yeah, their choices of who they mated with or their men and whatnot. The underworld deals with the underworld. So they was dealing with the robbers. They was dealing with the drug dealers, the big willies and all of that. That whole world just eats off of each other. But inside of that world, back in those days, yeah, you had call girls. You might have escorts and whatnot. But that's not what the shit, they didn't lead with that. They didn't lead with that. The big willies and whatnot, they were not paying the women to have sex with them. Okay? That's not how that shit goes. So when I go out of town and I see that that's the culture, and I see that's how they moving and whatnot, and I see that that's the shit that everybody is co-signing, I'm like, that shit is whack. That shit is whack, bro. Like, that is the wackest shit I've ever saw in my life. You don't even know if the girl likes you, fam. You're just a dollar bill. You don't even know, like, you're paying them a single dollar to gas you up and lie to you. Where do they do that at? Like, where do they do that at, bro? Like, that is the most backward shit in my life. You're literally paying a woman a $1 so she could lie to you and tell you how much she likes you. She don't even fucking like you. This is just her job. She's just shaking tits and ass for a $1 bill. Okay. And they made that the culture down here. That's not like, they make that the culture. That's the shit that leads in some of these places where I'm at, especially Atlanta. They lead with that. So anywhere that don't have respect for their women like that, I'm not feeling that place. That place to me can't exist. That place to me can't stand up straight. That place to me is falling off every fucking day. Men be hoes too. Yeah, they got male prostitutes. Look, Atlanta is a completely whole state. The whole state is holed out. The men be touching toes. The men is with the men. The women is with the women. Like, this is some Sodom and Gomorrah shit out here, bro. And then there's good people in the middle just trying to raise their cities, and they just trying to raise their babies and whatnot, and they just trying to survive. Look, here's my and once again, I am not sitting up here like I'm holier than thou. I dated 3 women out of Magic City. I dated 3 different women out of Magic City throughout my years and whatnot. This was in the late 90s, in the early 2000s. It wasn't like I was dating the women when I got, reformed and whatnot after I got baptized, but those were not bad women. Those were not bad women. They just was in a bad situation. You know what I'm talking about? And the way that they saw life, right? And the way that they saw how they could take, the way that they saw how to monetize was very limited back then. You didn't have the ways that we can monetize now. You didn't have that back then. You say you converted some hoes to be conscious. That's what's up. It was pre-Freaknik. Nah, it wasn't pre-Freaknik. I came to Atlanta in 1997, right? And I was locked in. You know what I'm saying? I came out here on the run. I was locked in with my Brooklyn niggas, and we came through the underworld in Atlanta. We didn't come to Atlanta to go to Clark College or nothing. We came out here on the underworld side. So everywhere that we was moving, it was dealing with that type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I was selling clothes, I wasn't selling clothes to to Atlanta housewives. I was selling clothes to strippers. I was selling clothes to hustlers. I was selling clothes to pimps. I was selling clothes to the underworld. But one thing about Atlanta is the underworld. Like, there's really not a lot of separation. They've done a good job of blending everything together. You know what I mean? So people might judge strippers, but they're just regular human beings like everybody else. You know what I mean? And I've said it before. It was a woman who I was seeing, right? And she put me on to my horoscope. She put me on to the power of the Scorpio. She opened up a Suzanne Collins book on the kid and started reading passages and shit. And I was like, God damn. You know what I mean? Like, I'm judging. I'm not thinking that a woman like that, a lady of the night, is even going to be on some shit like that. But I just had seen Erykah Badu, right, at the Tabernacle. So I was kind of like, leaning towards I was leaning towards women with wisdom and whatnot. I was leaning, because back then they didn't even have the word consciousness. It wasn't even called conscious. It wasn't even called conscious. I don't even know what they were calling it. But I was into women that could teach me something. You feel me? Like, I was kind of drawn to stuff like that. So when she started dropping knowledge on me, and it wasn't even like a forceful type of thing, it was just haphazardly, like, hey, check this out. And she got my attention. You know what I'm talking about? She got my attention from that point on. Of course, I wanted to save her, but she ain't want to be saved. And it is what it is. You feel me? It is what it is. Those women got stories to tell. I would say that those women have, or each one of them, I'm sure, has stories to tell. But them stories are a mixture of trauma, drama, it's tragedy, right? But it's also redemption in that. Okay, it's also redemption in that. Women have attracting powers. Not only that, but women are magical, right? Henceforth, they call it Magic City. Them women is in there doing magic. Some of them are doing black magic, but they're doing magic though. They are activating something in the men that walk through those doors. Now, where people spend their money and how they spend their money, that's kind of like where I have issues with, because let me throw this up, right? Let me throw this thing up right here. Let's have this talk, right? About Atlanta and how they don't got no money out here, right? And I know why they don't got no money in Atlanta. It's the numbers are horrible. The numbers are horrible when you look at it. Just dealing with how much the average household has is scary. I promise you. I'm looking for the article right now. It's scary, right? The people in Atlanta have become consumers and buyers, right? But uneducated consumers, right? They didn't necessarily put their money in the right places. If you were to ask me, they did not take full advantage of the quote unquote real estate when it was very affordable. All of that excessive partying that they do out here is made is basically dried this whole fucking city up to the point where they don't have no savings. They don't have no savings. I'm looking for the article right now. Right? They don't have no savings and whatnot. They shot. They are shot out here. You know? And it's tragedy. It's a tragedy. Because this place has so much quote unquote potential. So much potential. You know, but they piss it all away and they trying to keep up with the quote unquote what they call them, the banana Helena housewives and all of that dumb shit. Like it's just man. I could say so much. I could say so much. Damn, where is that article? I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find that screenshot and I'm gonna post it. But yeah. So when you don't put your money, when you don't invest your funds, it's all gonna come tumbling down. It's going to come back and bite you in the ass. So one of the things that they didn't do in Atlanta, in Miami, in Detroit, in South Beach, in Philly, in DC, in Arizona, many of the places where we call out when we do the roll call and whatnot, is y'all, you know, the promoters, the ones that were selling them goddamn bottles and them bottle sections, and they just been throwing parties every fucking weekend of your whole life. Yeah, I would love to ask them, what did y'all do with y'all bread? Like, how did y'all invest your money? Like, what is y'all pulled all of that money out of the community? What the fuck did you build with that? What did you build? What did you do with it? All of these promoters and whatnot. What did you invest in? Y'all don't even own the clubs that y'all throw the parties in. You know? So you don't know how Atlanta ain't got a flourishing black farmers market. They got a farmers market, and the Ethiopians kind of like are the face of it, but the Asians are owners of it. See how that works? They made the Ethiopians the face of the decal farmers market, but they don't own it. The Ethiopians don't own it. The Ethiopians basically got lucky, and whatever Ethiopians first started working there, they basically opened it up to all of the other Ethiopians, and then they become the face, the front face of it. But when you go in there, who's counting them receipts up? Who's in the back? The Asians. You know, the Asians. So Atlanta white masters make it impossible to own land, everything, but own something. I mean, look, they it's too much. It's too much. It was too much monetary power for them to stop anything. If Negroes would have got their shit together, they could have got anything done in Atlanta. They did not have their thing together. They were lollygagging. They were lollygagging, right? And them people came in there and swooped everything up and whatnot while niggas was in them clubs. They were lollygagging. Okay. But they do have the Europeans are on the outskirts. They do have handlers. They make no mistake about it. They are all, majority of them are being handled either by evangelical Christians like Kenneth Copeland and all of them, the evangelicals, or you have rednecks running niggas, you know what I mean? Or you have the juice boxes. You know, it's different groups running shit, and behind the scenes, a lot of the boule dudes, a lot of the boules are connected to the bankers or that old money, you know, like Wall Street, shit like that. The 501c3 preacher dudes, they're connected to white masters on that end. The cartel is the ones who are running all of the drugs through Atlanta, so it's cartel business in here. You know, it's a lot of shit. There's layers to this. There's layers to it. But what I do know is that this shit is falling, and it's not. It's the Black Mecca and all of that stupid shit. That is not. It's furthest from that. Please believe me. It's furthest from that. It's a bunch of melanated people with no guidance out here.
I don't want to wear a skirt in the office. I want to wear pants. Yes, even little things like that, dressing the way you want to, being as loud as you want to, standing up for yourself and others. You are.
They saw Black women doing it. Please understand, they saw Black women doing it and they wanted to do what Black women did. So they started beefing with their men, and then they caught our women up in the motherfucking thing. They wanted to they seen Black women wearing pants. They seen Black women dancing with their afros and whatnot. They seen Black women having their way. And they started complaining to their men. These are white women that I'm speaking of.
Breaking free of the good white woman trope. And I love that for us. So stick around. We're going to talk about it for a bit. And later today, I'm announcing a little bit of a giveaway. That's right. Hope you made it to this spot. And that's for everybody, not just for women. Yeah.
That's why they destiny swap with y'all, right? And then got y'all on some it's women only, it's ladies night and all of that dumb shit. Like that was not something that we was going through before. Man, how did y'all fall for that? How, Sway? Check this out. My dude Plies and whatnot. Check this out.
And I'm trying to ask y'all.
Hey, yo, listen to this.
I remember growing up, all my Latino buddies, they was on what I was on. But now that I look at it, it ain't as clear to me no more. And I'm trying to ask y'all, do y'all feel, Latino brothers and sisters, do y'all feel y'all are more in line with Black folk? Or do y'all feel like y'all are now more aligned with Caucasians? You know, and I don't know if y'all feel like y'all more aligned with Caucasians, or if y'all inspired to be more like them than y'all do Black folk. I don't know. I'm fine with it either way. I'm just trying to get clarity on it, because it's not as clear to me now than it used to be. Like, I used to think we was in.
So let's put it into perspective, right? Plies is a Democratic shill. And where he lives at in Florida, right? Where does he live at in Florida, ladies and gentlemen? Let's just be clear. Where does Plies live in Florida? Okay? Because he's surrounded by pro-Trump Latinos wherever the fuck he lives in Florida. Right? My guy is a Democratic shill. Okay? And it seems like he's in Orlando. Is he in Orlando? it seems like, you know, he's basically waking up to some shit that everybody been known. You know, once again, the mind of a rapper is very, you know, it needs to be studied and whatnot. It needs to be studied and whatnot because people actually listen to this dude. Okay, he's in Fort Myers. Okay, it's in Sarasota, right? Is that near where's that shit that I went to before? Naples? Is that near Naples? Okay. What is the Latino population in Fort Myers, ladies and gentlemen? What is the Latino population in Fort Myers? Okay. These are, from what I remember, these are some well-to-do areas, right? I've went through Naples before. That shit look, man, immaculate. Big houses, all type of stuff. But I saw the Zimmermans out there. The Spanish Jews are out there and whatnot. So you gotta know who's surrounding you and whatnot. You gotta know who's around you. You gotta know who is in your vicinity. Okay. And him being a Democratic shill and whatnot, he's realizing some things and he's asking questions. So let's hear what else he got to say. He needs some clarity.
The same fight. But now when I see things, you know, I remember the last election talking to Latino folk, and they, oh, no, he gonna, he gonna give us money, he gonna, you know, and I just be like, God damn, like.
Keep in mind, he was a Kamala, a Democratic shilling for Kamala, shilling for the Democrats and whatnot, a little underinformed, you know, like him, Uncle Luke, who's some of these other Florida dudes, just a little underinformed. Willie D, in a sense, you know, I don't know if Willie D was totally on some Democratic shit, but these are the rapper dudes. You know what I mean? These are the rapper dudes. You have to be wild suspicious of the rapper dudes, okay? You don't know who the rapper dudes are, quote unquote, loyal. You know who they're loyal to. Yeah, Trick Daddy and whatnot. You got Trick Daddy, you got Uncle Luke, and you got Plies and shit, giving Florida a bad name when it comes to politics. My niggas, stop it.
That's the motherfucker want to get y'all out of here. And the only reason I'm asking, because I need to know who I'm defending.
Like, I really don't understand what he mean. When was it ever the same fight? Where did you get that from? Like, yes, in New York, where I'm from, we grew up with a lot of Puerto Ricans, and we went through the same struggles, and we grew up, and a lot of us was tight and close friends. But the reality of it was, a lot of the Puerto Ricans we grew up with, their parents was racist. They didn't fuck with black people, but they really had no choice but to accept us because that's where they living at, and they kids fuck with us. So they ain't really have no choice. They kids wasn't had that.
You couldn't go in every person's house in New York that was Latin. Couldn't just come and eat with them and shit like that. You had to have a special pass, a Moreno pass, nigga. You know what I mean? I don't know how they was out here approving niggas, but every nigga couldn't go inside of a Spanish house and sit down and break bread with the abuelas in them.
That racism shit, but a lot of their parents did, and I'm just keeping it a buck. You know what I'm saying? That was the reality. And then when you go in prison, in jail, where I don't think Plies ever been, and that's good, but when you clearly know it's always been racial tension. I could know somebody from the streets that's Puerto Rican and we be like this, but in jail, if it pop, he
that's a fact.
On that side. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on my side. Yeah, he might be like, yo, that's my man, yo, you know what I'm saying? And try to make sure nothing happened to me, but you really can't stop it. Especially like it with Mexicans and the feds. Them MS-13s, they don't fuck with black people. They'll stab you in your fucking face. Like, they don't care about none of that shit. I done had my Mexican man, I'm not even supposed to be talking to you. I'm in violation. They really be on it. So, like in Cali, and it's always been the separation. Dominicans, all of that. You asking this question, why? Because of Talarico? The Latinos voted for Talarico over Jasmine Crockett? What the fuck you thought? For one, what did you think they was going to do with all the racist comments she made? Saying shit like they got slave mentalities. Like, she said this. Listen.
2024 Vanity Fair profile. You talked about, quote, and I'm going to read a lot of the quote just to put it in the context, quote, all the complexities within the Latino community. The immigration thing has always been something that has perplexed me about this community. It's basically like, I fought to get here, but I left y'all where I left y'all, and I want no more y'all to come here. If I wanted to be with y'all, I would stay with y'all, but I don't want y'all coming to my new home. It almost reminds me of what people would talk about when they would talk about kind of like slave mentality and the hate that some slaves would have for themselves. It's almost like a slave mentality that they have. Now, about the time that that was published last year, around 1 million Latino voters in Texas were voting for Trump. Do they all have slave mentality?
No, and that's not what that said at all, to be clear. It did not say that every Latino has that type of mentality.
No, but
Hey, Jazzy. Jazzy. Ain't work out for you this time around, huh, baby girl? They kicked your ass to the curb. You out there clapping cheeks for them Israelis and whatnot. Maybe they might take your ass in Tel Aviv and whatnot. Let's see.
The ones that vote for people who believe in strong or Trump's immigration policies.
So I don't believe that the people that voted for Trump believe in what they're actually getting.
I can't believe Jake Tapper just read her exact quote word for word with no edits, and she still had the nerve to stare at the camera and say, I didn't say that, because she did say it. And that's not all she said. She also went on to say she believes Latinos associate illegals with criminals and cartels, and that it's almost like a slave mentality they have. She also said it's wild to her when she hears how anti-immigrant they are as immigrants, that she's talking about people who literally just got here and can barely vote that are having this kind of attitude. The words are right here. I think what happened is Jasmine Crockett actually said out loud what the Democrats really think of Hispanics. As long as they're voting their way, they're accepted. If not, then something must be wrong with them for having the audacity to think for themselves.
But in reality, the real world is always, like I said, in prison, it's always been racial tension between Latinos and blacks. So where did you get this from? You getting this from your childhood, you being close with Latinos, just like I was close with Latinos, being raised. But like I said, the kids that was growing up with us, they didn't have a lot of that racism shit, but a lot of their parents did. And they.
How many of y'all on the call right now? It's almost 1,000 of us. How many of y'all feel that the younger generation, the newer generation, who are more hip hop orientated, is going to leave the racism behind? And these are going to be our allies. Press 1 if that's how you feel, because I don't want nobody to not have a voice in terms of, you know, where the future may be headed and whatnot. Okay, I just want to know. I'm taking a toll. You know, because if you were to ask the younger ones, they'd be like, "Nah, papi, that's not me. You know, that's my abuela." And my people were, you know, they didn't like you guys. And you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you guys are cool with me. And I'm like, is that right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Is that correct? Is that how you really feel? This is going to be a conversation that I don't think is going to go away. Numbers wise, it's an unavoidable conversation just because of the numbers. The numbers are numbering. It's a lot of them and it's a lot of us. So there's gonna have to come some type of quote unquote Rich said they not allies. There's going to have to be some type of quote unquote, what's the word? We got to come to the table with something, you know what I mean? Because they will be undermining us forever. Okay? They will be undermining our people forever. Because, like I said, when I went to Central America, South America, Latin America, what did I witness? I witnessed, and this is what I witnessed with my 2 eyes, and this is also what Spirit told me, that the United States of America, or what they would call the gringo, right? The gringo who literally took this land, right? From the FBA, from the Aboriginals, from the indigenous, from what they call the Indians. They took the land, right? And they have used other races, right? The closest ones, I would say, would be the Latinos, right? Because they're the ones who are in closest proximity. And they use them as a buffer. They use them as a buffer. It's the church and the crown. Spain, who coincidentally is beefing with America right now, Spain was behind that shit. And then also over here, you got the quote unquote white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, and he's been using this whole immigration thing. They've weaponized immigration in a way where they literally know how to put people against one another. Okay. Them people need to be re-educated about who the fuck we are. You know? They need to be re-educated about who we are in the United States of America, because anybody who gets into contact with us and they are carrying the that story about we was just coming here, we ain't nothing but slaves, and we was in chains, and we didn't contribute anything, all of that shit is a no-go. Nobody should even be able to stand in front of us if that's the kind of programming that they had. We need to eradicate that immediately. Okay. And for the people, and also we need to do a little bit of, because there's information that every single person of Latin descent could receive from the researchers from our community, because we even got bars for them. We got shit about their culture that they don't even know about. So when it comes to people from anywhere in the diaspora, because of the level of the high levels of disrespect that they have giving our image and whatnot, everybody got to get, we just need a reintroduction. We need we got to be relearned, rebooted. You feel me? There needs to be a re-education about a lot of things dealing with us. You know what I mean? And then we could take it from there. Because, you know, people are they're running off of faulty, quote unquote. It's almost like a faulty program and shit, right? But conversations like this need to be had, and images like this, you know what I mean? Images like this need to replace seizure bourgeois. Okay, images like this need to replace all of those whitewash pictures that y'all got running around in Latin America and whatnot. Because I mean, I don't trust it. It's too many whitewash pictures running. You know what I mean? It's too much proximity to whiteness, right? So I have a whole presentation that I want to deliver about what took place in South America when they whitened it up. You feel me? I have a whole presentation about the purpose, how they whitened up the entire Latin America, and how that shit was almost like their culture to whiten them up. So they need to get this work. They need some fucking truths. And they need to be reminded of all of the freedom fighters that they don't like to mention and whatnot. And also all of the melanated people who resisted and formed all of those communities and whatnot, all up and down Brazil, all up and down Colombia, all of that. They need to say these people's names, you know, bring that shit back. And then we might trust you niggas. But they're not carrying no culture and whatnot. They're not holding up no culture outside of whatever the fucking culture they got from our people. They're not to just what I don't, that's from what I see. They made a big deal about Bad Bunny climbing the fucking light pole, my nigga. That's how you know that niggas is in bad shape. They made a big thing about Bad Bunny climbing the light pole. Like that was supposed to, like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, oh, he was climbing the light pole. Huh. There's energy problems in South America. Like, if you niggas don't shut the fuck, man, it's have a seat with the stupid shit. Like, that's just a slap in our faces. Those of us who put all of this time and all of this effort, and then you niggas are gonna talk about Bad Bunny climbing a light pole. That was revolutionary to you? Huh? Bad Bunny in a sugar cane field? Nigga, he got sugar in his tank. Of course he's gonna open up in a sugar cane field. What are you talking about? You don't see the symbolism? You don't find that suspicious, nigga? The nigga got mad sugar in his tank. Yes, he'll open up in a sugar cane field. But what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Did he show how how they sold the Moors out? Did he bring Tego Calderon out with the afro? No, he didn't. So I don't want to hear about it. Niggas get excited about nothing these days, bro. Man, it don't take much to get our people going. Did you see he climbed the light pole? Oh my goodness, he climbed the light pole. Really? Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Matter of fact, let's find out where a lot of this stuff started. Let's find out where the gripes come from. Check this out.
What if I told you that the Islamic conquest of Spain began with an invitation? The year is 711. Visigoth Spain, led by descendants of Germanic warriors, was divided by internal conflict. A local Spanish nobleman, Count Julian, sought help after his daughter was dishonored at the Visigoth court by their king, Roderick. Across a narrow stretch of sea, messengers crossed into North Africa, carrying an offer that would change Europe. A message from Julian to the Muslims, to rescue his people. The man chosen to lead the expedition was Tariq ibn Ziyad. In order to not attract attention, Julian provided ships to the Muslims. The Europeans mistook them for trading vessels. Tariq crossed the narrow straits into Iberia with only 7,000 troops. The mountain where he landed became known as Jabal Tariq. Today, we call it Gibraltar. Reports say Tariq burned his ships after landing, so his army would have no retreat. The message was clear. There was no going back. Ahead of them stood the Visigoth army, led by King Roderick. At the Battle of Guadalete, the Visigoth army collapsed. King Roderick was defeated. Within years, most of Iberia fell under Muslim control. Local populations, including many Jews and rival Spanish factions, supported the new rulers. Visigoth persecution was over, and the conquest spread faster than anyone expected. What followed became Al-Andalus. Cities flourished, libraries, science, architecture, and learning expanded. Cordoba would become the largest and most advanced city in Europe.
Now, if they would have taught us this when we were in school, if our Jewish teachers, right, would have taught us this while they were teaching us about Schindler's List, okay, while they were lying to us about what happened in Germany, yeah, let's get into that, right? While they were lying to us, they could have gave us the truth about a history that preceded slavery and makes sense as to why slavery started, because these men, these Africans, were defeated the same year that Christopher Columbus allegedly took sail and all of this stupid shit started. The fact that the doctrine of discovery was a direct result of the Moors losing the war and whatnot. The fact that Spain, the people that speak Spanish are a result of Spain, but Spain was conquered by Muslims, Africans, right? West Africans, my nigga. Okay. So when you go into South America, when you go into Latin America, who Spain basically is controlling, right? The reason why they have an anti-Moorish gripe, what people misunderstood for an anti-nigger gripe, they have an anti-Moorish gripe, right? Because their fathers, the same men who slain the men and raped the women and whatnot, these are their children, and they all bow down to the Pope. They call him Papa. They call the Pope Papa and whatnot. So they've trained millions upon millions of operatives to work against the Moors. They've been doing this for centuries now. Every generation, they weaponize them, they radicalize them, they give them the stories. All of that bullfighting, there's all type of celebrations all up in Latin America about defeating the Moors and reminding them to keep their foot on our necks, right? So the whole, in my humble opinion, the entire cocaine cowboy shit coming out of Colombia, all of that was CIA. All of that still ties back into the war against the Moors. It's all dealing with the wars against the Moors. The Italians who push heroin in the 20s and whatnot, Lucky Luciano, all of them, that was a part. They were down with the Vatican Church. That was also against the Moors. They flooded the hood. They flooded Harlem, Black Mecca and whatnot with heroin, with opium, the same way that they flooded China. Okay, the same way they went into China and poisoned China with the opium, during the opium wars and whatnot. And those 60 million people that Mao Zedong knocked off, you don't even know who that was. They knocked off 60 million Chinese and whatnot. You don't even know who that was. That might have been the melanated Chinese, the ones you see in pictures and whatnot. You feel me? Who was the opium wars against? Who did they really put on dope over there? But Godfather of Harlem, it highlights how the Italians, and by way of the French connection. So what was the French connection? The French connection was them coming out of what? Marrakesh, coming out of Morocco. That's where the Moors got subjugated, right? Because they went over into Morocco and subjugated the Moors. So the French connection, whenever you see French in Africa, that's France going after the Moors. Okay, that's France putting their foot on the Moors' neck. When you see what's going on with the Portuguese in Brazil, that's the Portuguese going after the Moors in Brazil, putting their foot on their neck. They didn't bring all of those people over there. Them people was over there. Okay. Bumpy Johnson working for Queenie and whatnot. Queenie coming out of the Caribbean, Virgin Islands to be exact. She was the godmother, right? And she was running the numbers. She was running a bunch of shit in Harlem. She went to war against the Italians. That's where the movie Hoodlum and everything. So the Italians were working for the Vatican, and the Vatican is an aspect of the people that are going against the Moors. It's the crown and the church that went against us, right? So anywhere where the Vatican, anywhere where the Roman Catholics has set up shop, it's in poverty. The people are impoverished. They're impoverished. Women are prostitutes. Their children are being sex traded. Their human organ harvesting, human trafficking, drugs, poverty, dysfunction, illiteracy. And that was one of the edicts of the doctrine of discovery. Wherever they planted their flag, wherever they landed and whatnot, they got to keep the Moors underneath their boot forever until niggas rise up forever. That's why they got everybody. And then they have their conversos, the people that they converted, or the Moriscos, what they call the little Moors, right? They have them fighting against anybody who has the audacity to rise up. If you have the fucking audacity to try to rise up, then they're going to send their Jesuit Roman soldiers against you. Okay? And they checkmated your women and whatnot. So they have your women as either sexual, like the booty of war, either the women in Latin America or wherever the church is at in the Caribbean, the women are subjugated. Okay? And they beat you at the Catholic school with rulers and whatnot, and the women is subjugated, and the women are quote unquote, they're the main targets and whatnot because they give birth to the Moors. Okay? They are the wombs that give birth to the Moors. So you got to make sense of certain historical things that they're hiding so you can understand why things are taking place the way that they're taking place. It's not really, it's not difficult to figure out.
While Andalusia had paved streets, street lighting, and running water, much of Northern Europe, including London, remained dark, smaller, and far less developed. A new civilization had begun. A small army crossed a narrow sea and changed the destiny of a continent. History tells us how Islam entered Europe, but it forgets the spark in the civilization of justice that followed.
Of course, they're showing these men as Mamelukes or as Arabs and whatnot. This phenotype didn't even exist back then, ladies and gentlemen. This whole phenotype right here, it didn't even exist in 711. So Tariq and the Moors and even the Berbers and whatnot, they were way more melanated than how they are depicting them. But they're utilizing modern day phenotypes to kind of like give you a historic, that's not how they look. That's not how they look. You know what I'm saying? Even Wesley Muhammad broke down the original Saudi Arabians were jet black like oil and whatnot. So that's not how these people looked and whatnot. The West African went up in Spain and blackened up that whole goddamn continent, similar to how they're doing now, right? This whole xenophobia about what? West Africans coming into the Iberian Peninsula, coming into Europe, most importantly, France, right? Because Charles Martel stopped the Moors in France. It was a leader named Charles Martel. He was one of their leaders and whatnot. The grandfather of Charlemagne. He was the one who stopped the Moors from advancing they were going to take over the whole of France. They got the Baroque. They got the whole Baroque thing. That's them, right? So Charles Martel stopped them, right? But now, fast forward, the Africans are taking over France. The Africans are taking over Italy. The Africans are taking over Spain. The Africans are all up in the Iberian Peninsula. So what are the politicians who consider themselves far right doing? They're tapping into historical lore. They're tapping into history. They're galvanizing their people, saying, this happened before, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this happened before. We went through this before, right? The world wars cleaned that shit up and pushed that shit away, but now it's coming back, right? But now it's coming back. So they're utilizing xenophobia to scare people, but ultimately, this has been going on for a long time. This has been going on for a very long time. Okay. The Africans are taking over the Essence Fest. Well, the Essence Fest just declared bankruptcy like Pinky Cole and whatnot. So the Africans that come to find out were stealing from the Invest Fest or the Essence Fest. They were actually stealing and whatnot. So their sun is about to set. It's going to change hands. Hopefully it don't go into the hands of no Caucasoids and whatnot. Hopefully it falls into Tyler Perry's hands. I'm just playing. Hopefully it falls in. I don't know whose hands it will fall into, but somebody needs to go ahead and do the Essence Fest the right way, because the Essence Fest it captured my heart when I went. I went in 2003. It captured my heart. I did not want to leave. This is before Katrina. I did not want to leave. I was in love with New Orleans during the Essence Fest. For real, for real. That they showed me something that I never really I saw black people of different pedigrees and stocks that I've never seen before. Never in my life. You know, there's just certain black. Where you from? I'm from Oklahoma. Oklahoma? This niggas in Oklahoma? I didn't know that back then. But these look like some different type of black folks. They didn't look stressed. They didn't look stressed. They look happy. They look healthy. They were like fit. You know what I mean? I was impressed. But let us continue with this history lesson about the Muslim shit. Let's go down the Muslim pipeline or the Muslim rabbit hole.
If you are not Muslim, you are probably hearing these two words a lot right now, Shia and Sunni. And it's important to understand what they mean in relation to the geopolitical issues that are playing out right now. So in the Islamic faith, there are two main branches, Sunni and Shia. Sunnis make up majority of the Muslim population. They're about 85 to 90% of the Muslim population. Shias are the minority. They make up around 10 to 15% of the population in the Muslim world. Majority of the Shias live in Iran, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Iraq, and Lebanon. Iran isn't just important to the Shia Muslims because it is the largest Shia nation, but because it holds multiple layers of historical, cultural, religious, and sometimes political significance. And so to the Shia Muslims, the Ayatollah is a senior, highly educated, and religious leader. And these are the main two that have been in power in Iran for the last 47 years.
And when America talks about taking out, the Ayatollah, they're not explaining. I don't think that they're doing a good job explaining exactly who this man is and why they are going to be crashing out for him for the next 5 years, right? And I said it on a show before. I said it yesterday that he is the equivalent of somebody basically sending a jet and bombing the Vatican and not just taking out the Pope, but all of his people with him. Right? All of his people with him. That is the equivalent of what just took place on the 28th of February.
So on February 28th, the United States and Israel killed the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And they didn't just kill a political figure. They murdered a spiritual leader to the Shia Muslims. And they didn't just kill him, they assassinated him alongside his family members. So he died a martyr. And in the Islamic faith, to die a martyr is the highest honor you can have. He died protecting his people. He died for the cause. And
remember, we talked about martyrdom for years on this show, right? And everybody is just not built like that. But martyrdom, right? You know how Tupac says a coward dies 1,000 deaths. Martyrdom is seen as some of the highest quote that you want to go out on your boots. You want to go out standing up. You want to go out with your head up. Like they martyred a lot of our people in those lynching scenes and whatnot. When you look at the book, Without Consequence, it is the coffee tabletop book about the lynchings, all of the postcards and whatnot. They have depictions and they have pictures of some of these men who had their heads up and was looking tough in the face. Like, fuck that. Do what you got to do. I'm a finna be a martyr and whatnot. Martyrdom goes all the way back into shit like Attila the Hun and things of that nature, right? And it's real. And if you go out as a martyr, you forever somebody could go, your nation could go to war with you. You're similar to a saint. You could be summoned and whatnot. You could be summoned. You could be put on the altar. You could be consecrated. They can make sacrifices to you, right? So all they did is create a fucking legend. You thought Soleimani was something. They created a legend out of my dude. He was dying anyway. They said that he had cancer or something. He was going to die anyway. So he's like, F that. I might as well go out as a martyr. I'm forever etched in the hearts and minds. So because remember, Iran is Persia. It's not necessarily Islamic Republic and whatnot. But when they bombed them little girls and when they took out the fucking Ayatollah, they brought the whole Iran together. They're bringing Iran and they're bringing the whole Muslim world together with this dumbass shit that they did. So it can't be anything but on purpose. Donnie, dumbass Trump, this has to be on purpose. They have to be doing it. This provocation is for reasons of what we've discussed about eschatology. I'm gonna let the professor, the Chinese nigga, cook y'all niggas with that. He's gonna say it better than me. But this is about that end time prophecy, man.
That is what makes him a martyr. And that's what he's going to be known as. And so right now, there's a call to action to the Shia Muslims to avenge his death. After news of his death, Pakistani Shia Muslims stormed the U.S. consulate. 22 people were killed. The Lebanese resistance attacked Israel in solidarity with Iran. I think it's worth mentioning that Shia identity is symbolically rooted in resistance against injustice, colonization. They resist being conquered. And that has a lot to do, dating back to the Battle of Karbala, but also their history of being persecuted, oftentimes by Sunni empires. There is so much more context to this, but I just wanted to put this information out there to give more understanding and clarity for what's to come in the next few weeks, but also to combat the narrative against Shia Muslims, which is basically that they are violent and oppressive and dangerous. This rhetoric is Western imperialist talking points, and you are low-key calling for the eradication of Shia Muslims. There are 200 million Shia Muslims that share this world with us, and to hear it come from people who are so-called Muslims or so-called leftists is unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Good, y'all. We back chopping it up. And I want to talk about.
All right. Let's get into something else.
Is the biggest single American atrocity since the Vietnam War. The massacre of 167 girls aged between 7 and 12 in their classrooms in an elementary school close to the Straits of Hormuz in an obscure and far-off part of Iran. For no reason that anyone can possibly fathom, all these children were massacred. All of them. Every single child in 5 of the classrooms was massacred.
I know exactly why that happened. Iran burnt the effigy of Baal. Iran burnt the effigy of Baal, Moloch, right? They burnt it about 2 weeks ago. They burnt the effigy. Once they did that, it was on and popping. The massacre of the girls, those are all virgins, right? They massacred the virgins. That's feeding this is a ritual. This is a blood, right? This is all for Baal. Off the rip. They didn't even, that was one of the first strikes and whatnot, was to feed Baal. They burnt Baal in Iran, and then Iran came and bombed the school with 150 girls. Come on. You don't see what's going on?
Massacred. 60 others are wounded.
Then right after that, they bombed the volleyball team of girls. And when they show the map is nowhere near Tehran. This is nowhere near Tehran. This is near the Straits of Hormuz. This is not even an enemy. This is not an enemy territory. This school was completely out the way, but they went and sacrificed the virgins
in hospital, many of them critical. Later in that first day of the war, 40 volleyball players, 3 squads of volleyball players, all female, were massacred in a single airstrike. On Saturday, what will forever be known as the Epstein War was launched. I don't know what's in the dump that's coming out tomorrow from the Department of Justice in Washington, but it must be pretty horrific. Trump will claim that
that dump didn't even happen, right? Keep that in mind, that the Epstein dump was supposed to happen at the end of the month. It did not happen. It did not happen. And enough people are not asking for those files, those other 3 millions they did not drop those, ladies and gentlemen. So whatever they are hiding, whatever they're using this as a smokescreen for, it got to be crazy.
Israelis jumped the gun and forced him into the war. But that's a lie like every other lie he tells. It now turns out, according to Israeli media, that this date was set 2 months.
The biblical holiday of Purim, right? The biblical holiday of Purim is when they knocked off the supreme leader. like they're on par with their rituals. I mean, you know what I mean? Like them niggas are completing the fucking rituals. Pardon me. It is really like they are carrying out their quote unquote big ones. They done killed the 3 heifers. They burnt the cows. They're moving with their plans. Okay, they are moving with whatever ritual that they're taking place under these blood moons and shit like these. They moving with it.
Ago, and it was set to coincide with the religious festival of Purim. The regime has not changed in Iran. They said they wanted the Iranian people to rise up and come onto the streets. Well, they did come onto the streets in their millions in support of the Iranian government, in support of the new Iranian government, and in condolence for the slain leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. Well, the Ayatollah Khamenei did not run away. He didn't even go into a bunker. He sat there and accepted his fate, which martyrdom has set the Muslim world on fire. In India, in Pakistan, and many other parts of the globe, millions of Muslims are protesting in outrage at this crime against Islam, crime against humanity, war crime, and a crime which is not yet finished. It was a crime, but as Talleyrand said on the murder of a political opponent of his, it's worse than a crime. It's a blunder.
The Lil Fatty never planned on diplomacy. The story of Lil Donnie's Iran negotiation sham. The Lil Fatty never planned on diplomacy. According to new reporting by the New York Times, Politico, CNBC, and NBC, Donald Trump planned to strike Iran well before negotiations began, and he had no interest in a peace deal of any kind. The FIFA Peace Prize winner used the negotiations to provide cover while he moved our military into place. He only sent Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, neither of them, mind you, actual appointed diplomats, and Kushner has no position in the government at all.
Is that not crazy? If you see Jared Kushner coming, you better run. Whenever Jared Kushner, once again, who is not, that's the son-in-law. He is not an elected official. You want to talk about what's that word where they choosing the children? Nepotism. You want to talk about nepotism? Son is not an elected official, and he's literally being chosen to have negotiations with world leaders, right? They did that shit all the way back in Trump's first term, where they allowed this nigga to facilitate peace treaties between the quote unquote Palestinians and the Israelis, right? Like, who's really running the show? Okay, who's really running the show? So when they say that Israel is running the White House, it's through Kushner, nobody else. He's the one. He's the go-to man for Netanyahu, right? More so than Trump is. Trump is being controlled through Kushner. Okay? And Kushner is being controlled by Netanyahu, right? So that's how that thing is working and whatnot. But yeah, wherever he goes to have negotiations, somebody always gets murked. That is one of his calling cards. Wherever they send Kushner to go, they're gonna bomb that place or they're gonna assassinate somebody. He's the trump card. He's the Trojan horse.
They even refused to bring any nuclear experts to help in the negotiations. It was just Tweedledee and Tweedledum making shit up as they went along. Reportedly, the two were purposefully obtuse. They'd change their demands on a whim, and when Iran would agree to something, they'd change it again. This was so apparent that diplomats on both sides said that Witkoff and Kushner actively undermined negotiations, which in hindsight was a stalling tactic, proving they had no actual interest in securing peace of any kind. But that's not the end of it. Almost immediately after the first round of unprovoked bombings, Iran's intelligence service reached out to the CIA, who in turn reached out to Trump about securing some sort of peace, possibly even a limited surrender. And instead of exploring this option, at the direct urging of Israel, Trump wrote a Truth Social posting saying, "It's too late to talk peace." It seems, however, it was always too late, because with Donnie, who chairs the Board of Peace, claims to be the president of peace and made his very own peace prize for himself, peace of any kind was never going to be an option. Oh, also, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files and is refusing to release over 3 million documents that contain his terrible, vile, inhuman deeds.
Man, let's stay on this shit, man. Let's go to this chick right here. Christy Noam.
Sir, I'm looking at a picture of an interior, looks like a bedroom.
Of an airplane?
Yes, sir.
You're not familiar with that?
These photos are not accurate. If you're referring to the airplanes that the Department of Homeland Security has purchased, that is dictated in statute by Congress for the Department of Homeland Security to have a plane.
Luxury jet with a bedroom in it?
Yeah, we used a 737. I've been on it once. The department has found that in purchasing our aircraft, that we will save the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars.
Does it have a bedroom?
In fact, we spent $1.442 billion on ICE deportation.
So this is the head of ICE, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Department of Homeland Secretary Christy Noam that just got the boot. She got fired. Okay. Pam Bondi's evil twin sister and whatnot. Pam Bondi's evil twin sister. Pam is next on the chopping block. Let's go.
Could you explain this?
Sir, I'm looking at a picture of an interior, looks like a bedroom.
Of an airplane?
Yes, sir.
You're not familiar with that?
These photos are not accurate. If you're referring to the airplanes that the Department of Homeland Security has purchased, that is dictated in statute by Congress for the Department of Homeland Security to have a plane.
Luxury jet with a bedroom in it?
Yeah, we used a 737. I've been on it once. The department has found that in purchasing our aircraft, that we will save the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars.
Does it have a bedroom
in fact, we spent $1.442 billion on ICE deportation flights
Does it
last
have a bedroom
year.
in it?
I believe it's being refurbished.
What kind of deportee justifies being flown out of the country in a luxury jet with a bedroom and accommodations like this?
There are aircraft being purchased that will be utilized for executive air travel and for deportations.
Senior administration officials have described these airplane purchases as the world's worst deal and an abuse of federal funds.
Christy Noam being fired. The story of Christy Noam being fired, the sacrificial bird-legged hoe. Donnie fired Christy, not because she murdered U.S. citizens, or she shot a puppy, or she embezzled millions of dollars in taxpayer money, or she detained U.S. citizens, or her public affair with Corey Lewandowski, but because she embarrassed him at a hearing in front of Congress. So Democrats, if you want to bring this admin down, you need more hearings. You need to be loud, forceful, and press the fuck out of them. This is a crack in the foundation. Do not stop digging at that crack until it brings what's left of the White House down.
Christy Noam is an unemployed bird-legged hoe. 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 That hoe off, she goes.
The trailer park you go. I'm out. She was doing flyovers in a 747 with a whole bed in it. You know what I'm talking about? With a, I think she was in an affair with a married man and whatnot, while people were being detained in Alligator Alley inside of cramped rooms and shit like that. And she didn't care anything about it. Okay. She didn't care anything about it. This bird-legged woman right here. Okay. She didn't care nothing about it. So now she's out of here and her name is added on to the long list of disgrace. The laundry list of disgraced, quote unquote, White House operatives, right? It's a laundry list. But let us continue going.
This video is hilarious. You might be wondering, why are Bahraini citizens cheering the Iranian drone? For the sake of time, I'm going to heavily generalize going forward. The Gulf monarchies are a group of unelected, undemocratic leaders who get their legitimacy from suckling the teat of U.S. empire. They have a social contract with their citizens that we're going to join the Western financial system, and in exchange you get low taxes and ownership of any businesses that come into this country. Back when it was the British Empire calling the shots in the world's...
Hold on, real quick. This is a lesson right here. We are all in school because many of us did not know this before. We didn't know what we didn't know what the whole Gulf Coast makeup was about. Yeah, we know about the petrodollar and OPEC, but a lot of people didn't even know that some of these places, you know, these were like cookie cutter countries. They were put together by America, and they were built off of royal families or unroyal families or just niggas in the desert, right? Who happened to be around when they found oil and whatnot. So they made all of these people cookie cutters. So the reason why they're getting bombed and whatnot, the reason, it's almost like if like remember when they used to have the schoolyard fights? Remember the schoolyard fights, and somebody would be getting picked on and they would have to fight the schoolyard bully. So imagine a schoolyard fight and they come out and dude comes out and instead of hitting the bully, he snuffs all of his mans who was trying to be the middleman, who was trying to play neutral, but the nigga knew y'all are down with the y'all was talking behind my back. Y'all was playing, you can't play middle. I'm snuffing all of y'all. So that's what's happening. They getting all of them is getting popped on. So the rest of the world could be like, oh, I thought them niggas was cool. Oh, they not cool? All right, we not fucking with them either. We not going to Dubai. We not going to Bahrain. These are some hoes. We didn't even see it like that. But because Iran popped off and Iran got the upper hand, they're telling everybody and putting them on point that that whole area is no longer good. It's not good to do business with. They're not good to go in. The gig is up. They pulled the alarm on them niggas. The gig is up. We exposing all of y'all.
This video is hilarious. You might be wondering, why are Bahraini citizens cheering the Iranian drone? For the sake of time, I'm going to heavily generalize going forward. The Gulf monarchies are a group of unelected, undemocratic leaders who get their legitimacy from suckling the teat of U.S. empire. They have a social contract with their citizens that we're going to join the Western financial system, and in exchange you get low taxes and ownership of any businesses that come into this country. Back when it was the British Empire calling the shots in the world's oceans, they chose a select few families, helped them come to power, and said, you let us steal the resources that are on your land and we let you sit pretty. And they make their cities conduits of transnational capital. So when you see these glittering skyscrapers in Dubai, it's because these are nodes in the system of global transnational borderless capital. And when the British Empire fell, its successor, the American Empire, took over this position. But then after World War II, you had a democratically elected Iranian Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, who tried to nationalize Iranian oil. And fundamentally, the war that the US is waging against Iran right now is them taking revenge for what Iran tried to do in 1953. There were ups and downs. The British and the Americans overthrew Mossadegh's government. They put in place a puppet Shah, which was one of the reasons for the Islamic Revolution in 1979, and that UNO reversed oil ownership again. Now, all of these countries, their only real resource is oil, right? They don't have much water, they don't have much food, though Iran is kind of an exception. They do a little bit better in both of those things, but not much better. Which means if the West turns off the tap, these countries go into economic collapse, which makes their populations rise up and try to overthrow the government. And that is why the extreme unhappiness we see against the Iranian government right now is at least in part caused by Western sanctions. The only thing keeping those other unelected Gulf monarchies from needing to gas their citizens in order to maintain law and order is that They trade in petrodollars, they invest those in the United States. Essentially, they suckle from the teat of U.S. empire, and in exchange, the U.S. lets them live. The U.S.
Remember, Saudi Arabia was the lifeline to America in the last 2 years. Saudi Arabia was the lifeline to America. You saw all of those videos where they took over golf, they took over boxing, they bought EA Sports and whatnot. Your boy, what's his name? Mayweather and all of them. You feel me? All of them niggas was running over there, giving them Saudi Arabians lap dances and whatnot. They were the ones bailing out. They were the spending. So they're about to pull their money, right? I remember Saudi Arabia was even saying, yeah, y'all could trade on our stock market. Whatever happened to that, right? And they're about to pull a lot of their funding back. They're about to pull a lot of their fundings. They remember, they're telling America, y'all can't even fly in our airspace no more and go and bomb Iran. They already waved the white flag. And they said that America was not protecting them against Iran. Right? Yeah, remember the Jake Paul fight had the Saudis in it. You seen the Saudis popping up everywhere in the sheiks was in the building everywhere in the last 2 or 3 years. You feel me? And all of these hoes was getting in line. All of these hoes was getting in line, right? All of these actors and athletes, everybody was getting, they was all doing the bunny hop. They was on a Magic City shit. They was all hoeing, right? They was all hoeing. They was getting right. But everybody turned away. They were ignoring the fact that the UAE is involved in multiple genocides, the Congo and in Sudan. There's nothing that can excuse them from what there's nothing in the world. They were behind the desecration and the destruction of the libraries like Timbuktu and shit like that. They don't want nothing ancient. They don't want no monuments. They're mad that the pyramids got black faces inside of them. They're mad that niggas are going and asking questions and whatnot. They're mad at that. So they bankroll these terroristic organizations to destroy the relics, to destroy the historical shit while they build up these glass towers. They build up these fake ass glass towers. They literally, right out of the sand that they built these glass towers, and them shits all come tumbling down. Fucking drones are taking them out.
Bases in the Gulf are in part there to protect their financial assets because these countries are financial conduits, but they're also in part holding these countries hostage. Because if they ever rebel, like Gaddafi did by wanting to get off the dollar system, then the U.S. has an extremely strong military position and they can just destroy you and your entire country as a result. So that's what the U.S. is trying to do to Iran now. But remember, of all these countries in the Gulf, Iran is geographically the strongest. It's mountainous, it grows a decent amount of its food, it has an okay amount of water, it can last, it can take pain, which is not the case for many of these other Gulf monarchies. So Iran attacking the Gulf monarchies is them sending a message to those monarchies that you guys have made a bad bet. When the interceptor ammo runs out and you have humanitarian crises, which is also going to affect India because a lot of Indians live in that region, by the way, these monarchies are going to have to start asking themselves some very tough questions. The fate of the world we live in is at stake in what is happening now in Iran. Let's see what
entire global propaganda machine is trying to make us believe that Iran is about to have nuclear weapons and they're going to invade the West and impose Sharia law, and that's why we have to go to war. Let's start with 30 years of lies from Israel's prime minister.
The deadline for attaining this goal is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks. Could be weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
Here's J.D. Vance reinforcing it.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they try to rebuild a nuclear weapon, that causes problems for us.
Now, when it comes to nuclear weapons, Iran signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty, agreed to inspections from the regulatory agencies, and never attacked its neighbors, except in retaliation. On the other hand, the ones behind this propaganda have over 300 nuclear missiles, never signed the NPT, never had an inspection, even even though it is required by international law, and attacked at least 9 of its neighbors. I don't think we should send our sons and daughters halfway across the globe to take care of somebody else's agenda. This is not our fight. The people want peace, and I think we're just about done with the lies.
Hey, that people want peace. All right.
President of Peace has now launched military operations in Ecuador. Once again, without the approval of Congress. So now we have Ecuador, Venezuela, Iran, and God knows how many more places that this motherfucking president of supposed fucking peace is attacking. And while this is side by side with the Ecuadorian government to supposedly fight terrorists, can we trust that? Can we trust that information? Because all we get is lies from this administration. Wake the fuck up, Americans. We're living in a military empire, and the veil has finally been removed.
How am I in a server with these people? And they supposed to be leading me. This is who represented me. And there's just no way. I must have died and just went to a different hellish timeline for this to be real. This is a White House account. And this is what they cooked up on this fine day, regular, as we are in the middle of a war. They're like, you know what? Let's do a Call of Duty edit and show us blowing shit up. Because, that will get the morale of the people, 100%. I mean, we have no 9/11. The soldiers aren't really motivated because they're like, why are we fighting? Well, because this is the United States of Israel. So you have to risk your life for another country that will not do the same for you. But since you don't seem too motivated, check out this Call of Duty hype video. Look at our drones. We're blowing stuff up, guys. I mean, what? Y'all met as a team. They huddled up and they're like, all right, what should we do? I know, Call of Duty hype video. Man, what? Hell yeah. You ain't gonna raid. So as any true hater would, I expeditiously go to their account and now I need to scroll the whole entire thing since the beginning of the war. Because I'm like, wait a second. What did they have to say about the 6 soldiers that lost their life for literally no reason for another country that would not risk their lives for them? And yeah, this is it. No picture, no thank you, just a hey, yeah, we lost a couple soldiers. And I think that was only 3. They didn't even confirm the 6. And as I continue to scroll, I'm like, okay, I know there has to be a picture that's going to pop up, of them thanking them for their service. Just saying, you fought for us. You gave your life for us. No, just a lot of dick sucking about themselves since, they're just able to sit in their little cubicles and bunkers and just have people risk their life, for no fucking reason for another country. And then, don't forget the AI revolution that began in 1776. Also not true, factually, thought I might add. And still no RIP. So soldiers out there, this is a message to y'all. They don't give a fuck. So I know, it's been drilled in your head since fucking that basic training that, hey, leadership, follow command. This is not a good command to follow. These motherfuckers is insane. I mean, they're posting Call of Duty hype videos, but it's real life. You risk your life. March, you guys said death, Red Bull, nowhere in sight. Why? Strictly for vibes. Clearly, this is insane. I mean, you gonna risk your life for these people? I don't know. I will go AWOL, 100%. I go, oh yeah. Put me on the flight home tomorrow. Since they didn't do it, I will. RIP and thank you for your service. And I honestly wish y'all didn't even have to fucking go over there for another country.
Funeral for the Manab School.
So y'all done talk so crazy about Chocolate Godiva that she had to go out of character. And, this is her without the extra shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, she must have heard y'all complaining. So she was like, let me just give them a toned down version of the Chocolate Goddess. But come on, baby girl, let's get this war report in. We waiting for you. Let's go.
Happened today. And so the mass funeral for the Manab School happened today. And imagine a mass funeral for an entire country happen
for the deaths, the martyred deaths of 168 girls who were martyred as a result of the United States not allowing Iran to strike first, because if Iran is struck by someone else, they're going to come after us, or whatever the hell Marco Rubio said, and then proceeding to support Israel striking Iran again whilst the funeral took place, but still claiming to be the victim. At this point, these jokes are writing themselves, Israel. These jokes are writing themselves. I woke up this morning to see the damage that the Fatah-2 missile had on different parts of Israel. I also awoke to see the amount of deaths, the total amount of deaths that have happened in Israel versus Iran. The total amount of deaths in Iran has superseded 757 deaths since this incident has taken place, involving way more civilian casualties than there were in Israel. They woke up today, Israel decided to bomb a school playground while literally the school's mass funeral was taking place, the world's tiniest mass grave. And somehow you still think you're the victim? I saw the damages that were done to Israel, but think about all the damages Israel has done to the entire region. Think about all the deaths that have taken place in Iraq and Afghanistan, all the deaths that have taken place in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iran. And you wake up today after spending days claiming that Iran is nothing more than tyrants and that they attack civilians and they're breaking international law just for you to go back and do the exact same thing, even though you're the one who started doing that. I'm not sure why they think that we're supposed to provide some form of sympathy to them, because it just does not exist. It doesn't exist. You literally say one thing and do the opposite. So no, we don't care, because as long as you continue to do nasty, gruesome things to the Iranians and the Palestinians, as well as the Lebanese, the Yemeni, and whoever else is on the list, we don't care. We're literally watching y'all online celebrating from inside of bunkers while American lives are on the line. We don't care. We don't care. We don't. We genuinely do not care. Any form of sympathy that you thought you were going to get, it simply just does not exist. You guys are going to have to take care of each other, because we don't care. We just simply do not care. We don't have a care in the world. Sympathy is reserved for the people that deserve sympathy, that have earned sympathy and that deserve it. Sympathy is for innocence. There's nothing innocent about y'all.
Right, baby
There's
girl.
nothing innocent about your illegally occupied territory. There's nothing innocent about anything that y'all do over there. And there's, quite frankly, no motive other than to just simply be hateful and to steal things from people.
Listen, I don't know if y'all realize how much of a relief it is to hear a beautiful goddess, a chocolate goddess like this, just speaking with intellect and being able to, like, I don't know how this makes y'all feel, but it makes me feel accomplished, vindicated, it's like if more of us were talking like this, if we had this mind state, we would be in such a better place, because she's not wavering. She's not buck dancing. She is reporting from a super biased position, and I love it. Fuck all of that kowtowing, pussyfooting, nigga splaining and all of that. Nah, I don't. That you put her and Jasmine Crockett in a room together, I really appreciate the fact that she is just doing, and she's researching. She's not just coming off the rip with it. She's doing her homework. She is tapped in. I love it.
And we wake up today and you reaffirm and reassert your hatred for the people within the area that you're illegally occupying by waking up and bombing a playground in the exact same place that is currently whooping your ass. We don't care. And I really hope that it settles in y'all spirit and that y'all really, really absorb the fact that we just genuinely, globally do not give a fuck. You know what I mean? Because we did say that this would happen.
So we know for a fact that Iran is prepared to do this to y'all for years. That's something we know for certain. And as we speak, your prime minister and our president is just making it worse for you every single day. And everything that y'all thought y'all built, everything that y'all thought y'all created, it's just going up in flames in an inferno. It's just going up in flames in the exact inferno that you created for the country surrounding you. And isn't that a shame? The same destiny that you charted out for people who wanted nothing more than peace ended up finding its way back to you. Ain't that a thing for what you give out into this world, you get back tenfold. Yikes on bikes. And remember, boys and girls, when you're crying out to the whole world or to the UN begging them to make Iran stop sending those missiles, this is why they're not going to stop. This is why they're not going to stop. This is one of the major reasons why they're not going to stop. And we support it. We do. A woman today told me, just admit it. You hate us. No. We're just really, really, really looking forward to y'all getting that ass whooping you deserve. Because it's what you gave out. And you got to get back what you gave out, babe. That's how natural law works. Because to do shit like this to Iran and not expect it to come back to you tenfold, not expect for your shit to look the same exact way is insane to me. Honestly, let's take a good look at it in motion. I thought y'all were the best army in the world. I thought y'all had the best spyware in the world. I thought y'all had the best in the entire world. So why would you be whining and crying about what you've done to Iran? I thought you guys were prepared. Weren't you prepared? Aren't you the best army in the world? Don't y'all have the best technology in the world? What happened to your technology when those missiles entered your airspace? Where is it now? It's definitely not here. Yikes. Yikes. Everything you built, everything you created, up in flames. How does it feel? No, that's a legitimate question, and it's not rhetorical. I want to know.
That is a fact, Rich. That man has Christ consciousness. And when Ye set it off on a Breakfast Club, I mean on the Drink Champs, we should have felt it in our bones that nothing would be the same after that. He literally shifted this whole fucking reality, bro. He opened up a complete can of whoop ass in a Pandora's box. They will never be closed until everybody realizes what he was saying in Technicolor. Because there's so many people who are now fully understanding about what the hell he was talking about beyond any reasonable doubt.
How does it feel? How does it feel to peek your head out of the ground and see everything that you have known your entire life to be reduced to nothing but dust? And in some cases, the people are reduced to rubble and dust right along with it. How does it feel? Stings, doesn't it? Don't worry, they ain't done. How does it feel to see the glowing and hearing the bombs and missiles going off in the distance, knowing that it's only a matter of time before those missiles reach you too? It's only a matter of time. How does it feel knowing that even if you ran, whether it was north or south, there would be nowhere for you to go. There would be nowhere for you to hide. There would be nothing you can do but to sit back and await your destiny. How does it feel to sit in the dark, not have any lights, not have any power, not have anything that could potentially help you escape this nightmare? How does it feel? And if that ain't bad, y'all inside of them bunkers having to smell each other's farts and foul smells. How does it feel?
Who saw that video?
Good? I hope it does.
Who saw that video when they was in the bunker and there was a smell in the bunker and they were trying to get away from the smell? Who saw that video? I don't have it, but I saw it yesterday. It was crazy. Her name is Chocolate Godiva. Godiva. Okay? Chocolate Godiva.
Is it really searing into your soul? Don't worry, there's more. Because just in case it hasn't, there's more. And even if you feel like it has, there's more. Because we're sick of y'all shit. globally. You need this so that you can learn something from this. And if you feel it in your chest to blame somebody for the pain you're experiencing, despite us knowing globally that y'all are the reason for your own pain, and that these are the consequences of your own actions, citizens, 70% of the citizens in Israel included, make sure you blame the person who pushed the goddamn button. Make sure you blame the person who made sure that they did the worst possible thing that they could do and then hopped on a plane and left you to suffer by yourself. Make sure you blame the person who was in charge. Make sure you blame the person who assured you that you had the world's best air defense system and technology and that nothing would happen to you, that no missiles would ever see anything or the light of day on your territory, illegally occupied territory. Make sure you blame the right person. Because that man promised to protect y'all. Not Iran, not Palestine, not Hezbollah, or Hamas, or the Houthis. None of them promised that you would be protected. In fact, they told you to your face that if you proceeded, they would go upside your head. And that if you tried to protect yourself, they would ensure that the missiles make it directly to your doorstep. Make sure you blame the right person. Make sure you blame the right person, because that is one of the very many men that created the falsehood of where you live, the veil in which you sit on, and they ensured that you were not protected by not only creating structures that were so fragile that only a missile, a mere beginner entry-level missile, could blow y'all up out the ground. And Iran hasn't even touched any of their new stuff. Make sure you blame the right person. And next time, make sure you vote differently. I don't know.
Oh man, you know
is Gumba, the black.
You know I got the turned up version of her too. This is the you know what I mean. You know I got the turned up version of her. I'll see if I'm gonna drop that one, but I'm pedestaling Chocolate Godiva because we got other things to worry about. We have to show the clean glass of water because we've been made aware of the dirty glass of water, right? So this is the other side of our chocolate Godivas.
This is Gumba, the Black, Asian, Latina, white, and Native American super influencer taking over the internet.
Yeah, Cherokee.
Yeah, Cherokee. Let's go.
This is Gumba, the Black, Asian, Latina, white, and Native American super influencer taking over the internet.
Yeah, Cherokee.
With over 12 million followers across platforms, Gumba represents success, beauty, and aspiration.
Bitch, this influencer shit getting slow as hell. I used to just make money being pretty. That shit don't even work no more. And I gotta keep up this whole lifestyle for these hater women and strange men I don't even know.
Oh, baby, yes, very nice. Oh, buddy.
Well, I could always link you with the Cultural Interference Agency. The what? My boyfriend just got hired over there. They saying they thinking about starting an influencer division. You'd be perfect for that.
How good the money?
So, you want to be the biggest influencer in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, easy. But you got to sell your soul. Sell your soul, sell your morals, and sell out your own community. Do is promote whatever we tell you. Bad food, dumb trends, pointless drama, shit crack if we tell you to. You get jets, yachts, steak dinners, annual surgeries, private Pilates workouts. So, you in?
Hell yeah, I don't care about these bitches with no edges. Book the jet.
Welcome to Cultural Interference.
Okay, y'all. I finally decided to stop gatekeeping. This right here, BBL Eternity Butter. No surgery, no gym, just consistency. Body done overnight.
BBL Eternity Butter. They're selling that at Slutty Vegan.
Okay, y'all, I finally got the same stuff Gumba been using. She told me this was gonna give me the best body in the world. Now I look like Baggins Sagan Berry.
What the fuck I do? I ain't tell you to rub that shit on your ass.
Ladies, I am done entertaining broke energy. This right here, brokey repellent. One spray of this, and you attract a rich, successful, handsome husband only. No more dusty men.
Oh yeah, I'm about to meet my husband tonight. Baby, please.
I just need somebody who believes in me.
Between opportunities right now.
You look financially stable. No, this is not supposed to happen.
Hey baby, can you get me some Mike and Ike's? Let me get 2 Mike and Ike's. Sure.
Yes.
Now we have something that will make you the most money.
I'm listening.
We call it Blue Sempic. It guarantees weight loss, 100% effective. Minor side effect, it turns their skin blue. But don't worry, we sell the antidote afterward. Double revenue.
You want to be the biggest star in the world, correct?
Yeah. I don't give a fuck. They should have worked out anyway.
Excellent. You'll be on every billboard in the ghetto, and we're gonna boost your live stream numbers.
This was the moment Goomba became the biggest influencer on Earth. She promised transformation. And for once, it actually worked.
Oh man, honk honk.
No, it's not coming off. Bitch, that's fucking Gridlock. I'm out of here. I'm a black dog. I know what's
Be
up.
out here turning people into Skeeter Valentine for profit.
Oh, Grinny, I've been expecting you. They gave me upgrades.
All that.
Yeah. They got our people selling out, man. They got them selling out and selling anything. So for those influencers that was going to Dubai doing dumb shit, yeah, your plane has landed. Them days are over. Them days are over, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm gonna hang that up. Yeah. Like hang that up. Hang that up. We celebrating melanated women who are dropping information. You know what I mean? Who are dropping information. That's what we into right there. Women that are teaching.
All I gotta say is they lying to you. I know y'all love Trump. I know y'all love Pete Hegseth. I know y'all love Vance. Actually, where the hell is Vance been? I ain't seen him make a speech yet. But they lying to you. Do not watch CNN or Fox or any American news channel. Get on YouTube. Watch international news. They gonna give you that tea. They gonna give you that tea, honey. And let me just say, I got that Indian news on repeat 24/7. Al Jazeera over on YouTube, they gonna give you that tea. Al Jazeera, they gonna give you that tea, okay? Because Iran is playing chestnut checkers with America. It's been more casualties than America is letting on. Nobody from Iran that's in charge over there, okay, that is going to avenge the death of their spiritual leader, okay, during Ramadan, okay, called Trump and said, let's put an end to this. Ain't nobody call his ass. Watch international news, okay? They are unbiased. They don't have a leg in the fight either way, so they're going to give you the real. Go on YouTube and watch you some live international news.
Yeah, this shit has been like it's been given what the Olympics didn't give. It's been given what the Olympics didn't give, like for real. Like this shit is literally like, you know what I mean? It's the Olympics, it's the War Olympics right now. It's literally the War Olympics going on. You know what I'm talking about? And it just depends on who you tapped in with. It just depends on who you tap into, because everybody got a different take. But this is the War Olympics, y'all. Check it out.
The big news today, the Supreme Court struck down Trump's tariffs in a 6-3 ruling, delivering the administration a major loss. But don't be fooled. They had a backup ready. Within hours, Trump called the court a disgrace and announced he's using Section 122 of a 1974 law to keep the 10% tariffs anyway. This wasn't improvisation. They spent the past year preparing for exactly this. Look who wrote the script. Peter Navarro authored the Project 2025 trade chapter. He's now senior counsel for trade in the White House. Those 2024 documents explicitly listed Section 122 as a fallback option. They didn't just find it this morning. They opened the binder to Plan B. But here's the real danger. J.D. Vance. I've talked about him before. He's not just the vice president. He's the connection between the administration and the permanent infrastructure that outlasts any election. Kevin Roberts, the Heritage Foundation president and Project 2025 architect, said Vance is absolutely going to be one of the leaders, if not the leader, of our movement. Vance co-founded the Rockbridge Network, with Peter Thiel and other billionaires funding the agenda. Trump is temporary. Vance is the long-term threat. Today wasn't a failure. It was a successful test. They bought 150 days of tariff authority while they work on a permanent fix. Trump provides the voice, but Vance and the Heritage Network provides the continuity beyond any single presidency. Vance will still be here when Trump is gone.
Remember,
Like, follow, and share,
when I
because we
told
all need
y'all
to know who the
about the Vance rabbit hole. We haven't gone down the Vance rabbit hole, but we eventually will when we unpack Peter Thiel, and just go through a bunch of shit going on with Curtis Yarvin, Dark Enlightenment, Peter Thiel, Vance, the Cathedral. There's so many things that we need to touch on, but just understand that Trump is not the main player. Vance is. They do not want Trump. Trump is temporary. He's there to dismantle and crash the car. Vance is going to get out the car and crash everyone. You understand? Donald Trump is a liquidator. He's the apprentice dude. He's here to liquidate. He's here to crash. Curtis Yarvin has something called rage, retire all government employees. Their whole thing is about collapsing the government. They're not there to fix anything. That whole shit with Doge, where Elon Musk was appointed to go in and basically hook up Palantir to all of the government systems and stuff. You know, that's a part of that's a part of Curtis Yarvin's plan that they wrote out decades ago. This is not anything new. Trump is here to liquidate. And the CEO archetype, or the absolute monarch who they have already chosen, is JD Vance. Remember, I told you that. So all of that, 3 terms, all of that 3 terms with Trump, nah. Trump on his way out. Look at him. He's bloated. He has all type of shit. He got stuff on his neck. Like, son is sick. You know what I mean? And JD is in the cut waiting. So yeah, why is Trump crashing out? Because his ass is about to be on the way out. He don't care. He's crashing out. This is a sick man in his 80s and whatnot. This is an old man with fucking worms and shit who's pooping on himself, who is in the Epstein files. He doesn't have much life left. So he's preparing a lot of things for JD Vance, who is basically Peter Thiel's boy toy and his puppet. Peter Thiel is in the White House. Peter Thiel is a dangerous man. This is the same man that's running around doing lectures on the Antichrist when he is the same person that he's talking about. How does that work? Let's go to the professor, man. Let the professor talk that shit, man. Yo, professor, come in. Let's talk to our people, man.
Happening is that there's some crazy Christians in the American military, in the American government, okay, that want to use this war to end the world, to force Jesus to return. That is why this war is happening. Okay, I'm not saying that this is the reason why. I'm saying, like, this is a possibility, okay? All right, this is Trump, and these are all religious leaders that support Trump.
The reason why Professor Jang is going crazy right now is because he deals with game theory, okay? He's approaching this thing from a different angle and whatnot. Why did they kill Charlie? You don't see, ever since they killed Charlie, it's been going crazy. Ever since they sacrificed Charlie, it's been going crazy. So the Charlie Kirk assassination, they had to get him out. As it appears, he was going to be a linchpin for this whole "is it real" type of thing. He would have been against that. He wasn't on board. As you can see, after he got assassinated, "Is it real?" been on it. They've been doing a big one. They've been turning up, right? So their turn up has everything to do with them and their Messiah and their eschatology and all of that type shit. The third temple is really what it is that you're seeing happen. And he obviously was asking, he probably was, they assessed him and he did not pass the assessment test. He didn't pass that assessment. So he wasn't on board. As you can see, everybody else is on board, even Candace. Everybody's on board.
Because they see him as the Messiah. They see him as this great hero who will cause the triumph of Christianity and the return of Jesus. And that's a possibility as to why this war is being fought. Okay? Because quite honestly, there's no other reason. It's hard for me to come up with another reason, okay? All right. So this is something that we will look at as we go along. What is this crap? What is Christian Zionism? Why would they think that this war in the Middle East will cause the return of Jesus? Okay, we'll discuss this later on. But now it leads us to another problem, which is our entire class is on game theory, right? Guys, this is kind of weird because what this suggests is that religion is more important. Okay? So, what's the point of game theory if people don't play by game theory? If they're just religious fanatics? All right? And the answer is this. And the answer is, it's still game theory. But the problem is that what you think, the game that you think they're playing is not the game they're playing. The reward that you think they want is not the reward that they want, okay? We think in terms of material things, okay? So money, resources, power. We think that the war is being fought over these things. And it's not, all right? The grand secret, the grand reveal of the semester, of this course is this. The real power, the real currency in the world is not money. It is human consciousness.
Hello. Hello.
Or basically attention.
Hello. And what have I said on many occasions? I echoed it on Brother Richard's show, and I'm going to continue to echo this sentiment, and it'll spill over into the documentary that human consciousness is the key. Human consciousness is the key. And when you shift consciousness, or when you could control consciousness, or when you can enlighten people's consciousness or wake them up and bring their consciousness on board or online, that is what they fear. So the movement that took place in New York City, the movement that took place really just around the world, because we can't say that New York City, other people woke up around the world and then they got busy and they started to do waking other people up and whatnot. But a movement that started hundreds of years ago, right? I give the credit where it's due. Whatever the hell was taking place in the 1920s was a different type of time, because the influx of information and consciousness, Black melanated Moorish consciousness, with Noble Drew Ali stepping on the scene, with Elijah Muhammad stepping on the scene, with Marcus Mosiah Garvey stepping on the scene. There was a bunch of powerful people bringing consciousness to melanated people. And when you look at Black Wall Street, and when you look at all of the people, they had some form of consciousness because they were building cities. They had oil wealth. They had you know what I mean? They were able to arm themselves. They were carrying pistols and whatnot. They knew how. They were bankers. They were lawyers and doctors, and you know what I mean? But the consciousness about who we are and where we came from and our ancient history that was buried, Nation of Islam, Moorish Science Temple of America, then that gives you the Nation of Gods and Earth, then that gives you the Ansar Allah, right? The Hebrew Israelites, One West, and all of that. Yeah, all of that is consciousness. That shit changed. When I was growing up, my OGs and whatnot, they were giving us consciousness, street consciousness, or street knowledge is what they called it. They were handing us pamphlets from Dr. Malachi Z. York. We didn't know what the hell we were looking at. We was into the pictures and whatnot because it reminded us the comic books. But focus on sharpening your consciousness, expanding it. Focus on throw your consciousness into the world. Put your consciousness onto the quote unquote, like that is the key. Sharpen your consciousness. Study. Sharpen your consciousness. Your mind is a weapon.
Okay? This is it, guys, okay? Once you understand this idea, you understand everything. But this is a hard idea to understand, so I'll need some time to actually explain this, all right? This war is being fought to control the consciousness of the human race. Because it is our
So why is we on number 4 of the war report? Why do we do multiple things about Boys R Us? What I'm doing in so many ways, and why am I showing so many different people's different clips of videos? Because I want to show my audience that consciousness has no color. People around the world are conscious. They're waking up. It is a movement. It is something that has been spoken of and written of. We are not a majority of illiterate people anymore. We are not a majority of people who have their head in the sand. We are not scared black folk and whatnot. We are not people who are considered to be asleep at the wheel, right? Even what they call the 85ers are beginning to wake up. So attention, if you watch a video, or if you watch a lecture, or if you see any one of the master teachers teaching, their attention will grab you to the point where you'll never watch the lies on. You won't want to watch the lies anymore. You don't want to watch the Trump talking to you. You don't want to watch the Pope speaking and whatnot. Not after you discover the Farrakhan's, not after you discover the enlighteners, not when you discover people who grab your attention, not after you hear Khalid Muhammad, my nigga. You don't want to hear DJ Khaled, right? So we're able to grab attention just with standing in the truth. We were able to grab attention through VHS era, DVD era, YouTube era, streaming era. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're able to do, and the attention that we're able to grab from our people is because of the fact that we're dealing with this consciousness.
Consciousness that creates reality itself. That's the source of all wealth and all power in this world. Okay, that's why this is happening. In other words, this is a war not just for Iran. This is a war not just for the Middle East. It is a war for the soul of humanity. This is what's happening, guys. All right? This is what World War III is. World War III is meant to be the last and final war of all human history. Because whoever wins this war will control the very soul of human existence for all of eternity. Okay? That is the end game. And I know this is hard, I didn't understand, but as we go along, I will explain this to you. Okay? That is the grand secret behind the world. Everything that you believe, everything that you see today, it's all an illusion. The reality, the truth, is that consciousness is a source of all power of reality itself. And so this is a war for human consciousness. It's a war for the very soul of humanity. Okay? Any questions?
My guy right there.
All right. I will see you guys next week.
He's cooking right now. The professor might be the hottest nigga on YouTube right now. Facts. He took over Candace's role. He's cooking. Okay? He's cooking. Let's go. Let's get some more professor before we get up out of here. Let's get some more professor.
How far do you want to go? And the problem is this. The problem is that the Iranians are Shia, which believes in martyrdom. And you've killed the religious leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei. So they're willing to go very, very far. The big question that people have is, first of all, are the Americans going to use ground troops? Because the only way that you can defeat Iran is by using ground troops, okay? That's a big question we will look at in the next few weeks. Will America send its army, 500,000, 2 million soldiers to topple the government? Okay, that's question number one. Question number two, nuclear weapons. If you're losing a war, would you choose to use nuclear weapons? Okay, that's another big question that we have, okay? Another big question that we have is who gets involved? Because this situation is so dire that Europe, okay, specifically Germany, France, and Britain are talking about entering this war.
Now, we know from being in school and seeing how the other world wars started and whatnot, as soon as different countries start tagging themselves in and whatnot, we are in the world war. It's not World War III because the world is not involved yet. It is the beginning of a world war, right? It is the beginning, but the minute hats get thrown in the ring, it becomes a world thing. So right now is two major countries jumping one country. It's two superpowers jumping a country and whatnot, jumping another quote unquote superpower of that region. But the minute anybody else gets tagged in, oh man, it's on and popping, right? So that's the line that people are looking at to see if it gets crossed. I'm sure that the markets will reflect when that happens, and I'm sure that the announcement will definitely be made. The way that this conflict is moving at the speed, right? It is a quickening and whatnot. The speed in which this conflict is moving and whatnot, it will tell me that there will be somebody popping off very soon. They're going to be some hats thrown in the quote unquote ring very, very soon. So you have Iran, who is one country popping on about 9 countries right now. They're popping on Saudi, they popping on Bahrain, they popping on Dubai, they're popping on Qatar, they're popping on Is It Real? You know what I mean? Like they're popping on shit right now. Okay, they're popping on shit right now. So we they struck 14 countries. Like, so we basically gonna wait and see what's popping, because when everybody jumps in, that's when you're in the world war.
And guess what? If that happens, it is possible that Russia and China will also enter this war on the side of the Iranians. This is World War III, okay? Because of the importance of the Strait of Hormuz, because of the importance of the Middle East, everyone has to get involved at some point. All right, let's continue. Okay, so again, there are American bases all over the Middle East. And originally, these bases were established to protect them from basically their own people, okay? These are monarchies that were imposed on these nations by the Anglo-American Empire, the British first, and then the Americans came to support these monarchies. And so they provide defense. But then you're like, wait a minute here. I mean, didn't we just say that these American bases can't actually defend these people, that they're exposed? And the answer is, yes, that's true. But remember, like, the American military was built during the Cold War. Okay? And the Cold War was a war between the Soviet Union and America. And so the Cold War was defined as something called MAD, mutually assured destruction, because both had nuclear weapons, okay? So they didn't really go to war against each other. And so in other words, these bases aren't really meant
mutually assured destruction. Let's just remember that term, MAD, mutually assured destruction, meaning that if you push the button on me, I'm gonna push the button on you, and then we'll have a nuclear winter, right? Basically, the Samson option that they are going to destroy, they'll say that we didn't just destroy everything, kill them all and let God sort them out.
To defend these nations from other enemies, they're really meant to impose American authority in the Middle East, okay? And it's the idea of this. It's the idea that empire, it is really a image. It is a hallucination. It's just an idea. Empire is it's an aura of invincibility and invisibility, okay? If you fear it, then you obey it. But it's not really designed to fight a war, okay? And so that's why we have this absurd situation. And because there are so many bases in the GCC, that gives the Iranians the perfect pretext to attack them in order to destroy the GCC economy, which will destroy the American empire, right? All right, so this is how the war is shaping out, okay? So the red is the Israelis and the Americans. The yellow are the Iranians. And as you can see, the Iranians are attacking everywhere. Primarily Israel, Okay? But also, as you can see, a lot of focus on Bahrain and Qatar. And again, the intention is to destabilize the economy and the government. Okay? It's to try to get as much instability as possible. All right? Okay, and as you can see, the Americans and the Israelis are focused on Tehran. And so the Americans and the Israelis use something we call shock and awe.
Remember we talked about shock and awe? Shock and awe is they debuted shock and awe in 2003. Going back to what I was saying, I remember exactly where I was at when the war started, and I witnessed the shock and awe, and they went in for the decapitation strike in Iraq. I remember that clearly, right? I remember that clearly.
And the very idea of shock and awe is you decapitate the enemy. You cut off the head, the body will fall down, okay? The problem, though, is, again, the Iranians see this as a religious war. And so the Iranians have announced total war. Okay? And so
that's what they announced. They announced total war. They announced total war. That's what Iran announced after they knocked off the supreme leader. They said total war.
So what this means is that right now, command and control in Iran is decentralized. There's no one person telling everyone what to do. Every region has its own orders, has its own strategy. And so if you knock out Tehran, everyone else keeps on going. So if you take off the head, it doesn't change anything. Okay? But unfortunately, the Israelis and the Americans use this as a military doctrine. Military doctrine just means how you design your military for what purpose. And so even though the Americans seem like an invincible army, they are not equipped to fight a 21st century war against drones, against destabilization, against religious fanatics. Okay, they're just not. All right? But unfortunately, because of military doctrine, they're going to keep on attacking Tehran.
So do you see why Pete Hegseth and all of them are telling the troops that this is a holy war? Do you see why they have troops complaining, right? Let me pull up that clip real quick. Hold on, Professor. We'll be right back. Do you see why they're complaining about the quote unquote war and it being framed as a holy war?
Is that the history that we've been taught about evolution, about the development of humanity,
right?
If World War III happens in the next few years.
Let me see if I even have that video where the soldiers are like, yo, they want us to go to holy war, and I ain't even holy, right? You got people that are not even holy, and they're like, yo, they're talking about a holy war. I didn't sign up for this shit. I signed up to get a Dodge Challenger and a free home. I'm in the army, and they talking about holy war. And what the fuck?
Now, the great irony of all this is that the Iranians who would be most supportive of regime change, are actually in the cities because they are educated, they're progressive. The people who are most fundamentally against you, will fight you to the death, are religious fanatics, the Shia militants living in the rural areas. Okay? So this is a really silly thing where you are actually destroying those who will most likely support you, and you're leaving alone those who are most likely to commit jihad against you. All right?
Yes, yes, yes. The professor. The professor. You know what I'm saying? All right, you know we're going to have to, we got to bring our sister back in, Chocolate Godiva. You smell me? Chocolate Godiva's on her way back in. She a little turned up this time. Can you forgive her? Huh? Can you forgive her? Before we get to her, let's go ahead and check this out real quick.
Many ethnic groups are considered white in the United States, but that's not how it started, and that's because race is a construct which includes whiteness. The idea of whiteness as we understand it today can be traced all the way back to the 1500s with the creation of the Great Chain of Being, in which white Western Europeans placed themselves up at the top as closest to God, with everyone else beneath them. This was used to justify slavery and colonization. In the United States, the Nationality Act of 1790 limited citizenship to free white persons exclusively, and that law wasn't fully dismantled until 1952 with the Immigrant and Nationality Act. Talk about white privilege, which, by the way, is the unearned power and systemic advantages that white people receive in a society built for their benefit. This doesn't mean that if you're white, your life won't be hard. It just won't be hard because you're white. It might be difficult because you're poor or disabled or something else, though. When the Irish arrived in the United States in the 1800s,
the irony of this whole entire thing is this: the Iranians are the ones who created the quote unquote, these are the Aryans who created what? The caste system. Right? Or this aspect of, you know, white is right. These are the Aryans, right? The Iranian, the Persians, okay? The irony of it all, you know, the irony in it all.
That's because race is a construct which includes whiteness. The idea of whiteness as we understand it today can be traced all the way back to the 1500s with the creation.
So what do I pray for as a result of this conflict? That whiteness gets dissolved. Yeah, they need to dissolve whiteness. Whiteness needs to be dissolved. You know what I mean? It needs to be destroyed. It needs to, it's a concept. It's a construct. That construct needs to be deconstructed and whatnot. That construct needs to be deconstructed. Maybe the Persians might drop some bars on these fake white folk and be like, y'all not even really white like that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what's going to come out of it, but, you know, maybe a teaching moment.
Of the Great Chain of Being, in which white Western Europeans placed themselves up at the top as closest to God, with everyone else beneath them. This was used to justify slavery and colonization. In the United States, the Nationality Act of 1790 limited citizenship to free white persons exclusively, and that law wasn't fully dismantled until 1952 with the Immigrant and Nationality Act. Talk about white privilege, which, by the way, is the unearned power and systemic advantages that white people receive in a society built for their benefit. This doesn't mean that if you're white, your life won't be hard. It just won't be hard because you're white. It might be difficult because you're poor or disabled or something else, though. When the Irish arrived in the United States in the 1800s, they were not considered white. They were not enslaved under chattel slavery in the United States, but they were forced to be indentured servants, and in many cases served as overseers on plantations. They were considered intermediaries between black and white people. When Italians immigrated to the United States in larger numbers, they were segregated from public spaces and subjected to slurs, lynching, and mass attacks. They were not considered white. Polish, Romanian, and other Eastern European immigrants also suffered similar horrific treatment. As more immigrants arrived in the United States, the definition of whiteness expanded, along with the privileges attached, and this was all in opposition to blackness and indigeneity. And laws were even passed to prevent European immigrants from mixing with and aligning themselves with black and indigenous people in what are called anti-miscegenation laws. And just as ethnic groups were brought into whiteness, some were kicked out. Mexican Americans were considered white from 1850 until 1920 in the census. And today, ICE is targeting them and many other groups with extreme racial prejudice that's reminiscent of Jim Crow and Japanese incarceration. As these many groups became white, they were indoctrinated into something called white supremacy, which is the false belief in the racial superiority of white people and the idea that they should dominate all aspects of society. Like whose history matters and what history should be taught. Fighting white supremacy starts with acknowledging white privilege and its lasting impacts through things like the black maternal mortality rate and the racial wealth gap. So next time you ask why we don't have a White History Month, remember that in the United States, white history is considered the default.
Smarter in seconds.
This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Shout out to my guy. All right. Come on, Chocolate. Where you at, Miss Godiva? Come and talk to us. Let's go. We're gonna close this out with the goddess.
One of the things that will never be able to be erased from my mind is hearing the snap of U.S. Marine, a decorated Marine, might I add, by the name of Brian McGinnis, arm being snapped in half. We watched it. We watched it and heard the snap in the video of his arm being snapped in half by nearly 4 officers that were ripping him out of a court as he tried to protest and stand up against the tyranny of this government and them allowing Donald Trump to continue to thrust this entire country into a war where lives will be lost. Lives have already been lost. Well over 600 United States soldiers' lives have already been lost for war that has nothing to do with us. I will never forget the snap of a bone thanks to them. And we watched as Montana's Republican Senator Tim attempted to intervene, not to even so much as help that decorated war veteran, not to de-escalate the situation, but to aid the other 4 gentlemen who were ripping him and pulling him apart after his bone broke. We all heard it. You could hear the people in the background screaming, a U.S. Senator just broke the arm of a Marine. As Brian's hand got jammed in the door, and he, along with several other members that were sitting inside of there, were screaming, hey, his hand is actually stuck. He's not holding on to the door. His hand is stuck. It's jammed in between 2 doors. He couldn't even so much as get it out, and they continued to yank him even after noticing his hand was stuck. That is one thing I will never, ever be able to forget. That the Epstein party, I'm not calling them the Epstein class, the Epstein party was so dedicated to hiding or trying to hide and cover up the fact that they like to kill and eat kids. They like to grape people. They like to support a statehood where they can pretty much breed that environment and continue to kill kids and consume their skin and organs and all other types of things. Make utensils out of their bones. They would rather put billions of people's lives globally in danger just to uphold the world where they get to continue to eat kids, kill kids, destroy other people's homes, and steal from them. They are quite literally holding their own country and their military hostage just to uphold that. These are some.
So in terms of soldier morale, that scene that took place yesterday might have been the that was the straw that broke the camel's back. People in uniform, if they saw that, servicemen and women, and they decide that they still want to ride out with Pistol Pete and all of them, man, they need to get their brains checked, because that would be enough for me to say, oh yeah, this ain't gonna end well. This is not gonna end well. This don't look like none of the movies that I saw that ended well. This shit look like a horror. It don't look like it's finna end well. It's starting off bad. You know, it's starting off bad. So if y'all watching this and you got your fatigues on, my G, you might want to go just listen to some Wu-Tang, do some push-ups, and put that rifle down, because it ain't, man.
Stories that we will definitely never be able to forget. But I also would like to make it perfectly clear that we have numerous opportunities to be able to stop all this happening. The most disappointing of this is seeing how many regular, everyday public citizens either are sitting back and just allowing it to happen, or are participating in helping them to keep this reality going. And they knew before they started this, before they came out with it, before they went public with everything, they knew that a lot of y'all were too pussy to even stand up and say something or to fight back. They knew it. In fact, they counted on it. Their entire plans were circulated around it. It depends on a lot of y'all being too pussy to stand up and fight back. A lot of y'all aren't sorry that you voted for a pedophile because you were brought up in that environment. It was taught that it was normal to you. And your parents sold you, your siblings, and your emotional, physical, and mental safety so they can get a few dollars, and told you that it was worth it. Because as long as they had the opportunity to build generational wealth, they would do that. And they would do so on the backs of your psychological and sexual safety. That's why they knew it would work for them. Seeing how many people who outnumbered The amount of officers in that court but stood there in awe with their jaw on the floor and just watched it happen. And only one person spoke up after his bone broke. That tells me everything I need to know. That a lot of y'all are nothing more than talk. Nothing more than, that's it. Because you had an opportunity to do what was right. Stand up and fight back and stop that interaction from happening. Hey,
because the soldier's main words was, we don't want to fight for Israel. That was his words, and they broke his arm. He said, we do not want to fight for Israel. You feel me? That's what he said. And they jumped him in a way. It's like, my man, I mean, what type of indoctrination spell do Shabbat Shalom have on these people? Like, real talk. They can't be blackmailing everybody. The fuck?
don't do that. Hey, you broke his arm. Get off of him. A lot of y'all, at least 6 of y'all, could have gotten up and intervened and gotten to those officers before they were even able to draw a weapon. A lot of y'all would have been able to do that. This ain't the blame game. Those are facts. No one's blaming you because, of course, y'all didn't participate in breaking his arm, but you damn sure didn't help. We studied the bystander effect in psychology, and I remember the entire time thinking to myself as we studied those cases about them hearing a woman in a courtyard being raped, and she's screaming at the top of her lungs in the middle of a courtyard in the middle of New York, and there's hundreds of apartments that face that area, how she could be raped and slaughtered, and no one stands up and says anything. No one does anything. And it's broad daylight when this happens. That's what I studied in psychology, the bystander effect. And I remember thinking to myself, there's no possible way. There's just no possible way. Like, nobody said anything. No one called the police. No one went out to help her. No one went to check. No one went to their windows to look to see what's going on. And we just watched it in real time. Pathetic. Sad. Disgusting. And the number one reason why I will continue to fight every single day, because I'll be damned if this is the world that my child has to grow up in. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. A lot of y'all just stood there and watched and was just thankful that it wasn't you. Not realizing that you sitting there watching doesn't mean that it can't happen to you. In fact, it means you're probably going to be next if you try the same shit. This is the country that we're living in. This is the world that we're living in right now. But I, for one, I refuse. I refuse to live in that kind of world. If you see something, do something. Don't just say something. Get up and do something. Understand that it only takes one person to fight back for it to spark a light in everybody around you to start fighting the fuck back. And then unfortunately, in Brian's case, y'all failed him. This country failed all of us numerous times, even after seeing the truth and knowing the facts. There's no doubting this moving forward. There's no doubting moving forward what their intentions and motives are. There's no doubting it. There's no scraping it under the rug. There's no nothing. So when it happens, and it will, when they are all forcibly removed from their positions, because it's only a matter of time. When it happens, know that there will more than likely be no mercy. No. There will more than likely be no pause, no chance to talk it out. There will be no mercy. The same level of mercy that you extended to the American citizens and the people that were hurt by the Epstein party is the same amount of understanding that you will get back. There's no reason for me to be angry and upset because I know what's coming. They know what's coming. They know, which is why they were more than willing to allow that footage to be released to try and scare you back into place. They know what's coming. And they know it's only a matter of time before it does come. The timing of all of this happening after we have all continued to raise our voices about the war that's happening overseas, that is man-made and forced, that is causing this entire country to spiral into debt. They know what's coming. They know it. And they know that those walls are closing in very quickly. So they need to find a way to scare you back into place. Believe me when I tell you, that's probably one of the things that if you were questioning if whether or not that was a setup, including his arm being broken, you're thinking the right way. They know what's coming, and they know it's inevitable, and they know it's only a matter of time, and that it's more than likely going to happen a lot sooner than they speculated.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Chocolate Godiva. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to drop this right here. This show is coming to a close. We are winding down. I want to say thank you to everybody in the building for supporting this platform. We're going to continue to bring the news to you, raise the consciousness, wake the people up, and challenge the mainstream narrative. That is what we are here for, and that's what we do. Shout out to everybody that I put up there, all of the clips that I played, my journalism crew. You know what I mean? They out here catching alley-oops for me and whatnot, and I appreciate that. Coming up next Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special event in Atlanta called a Techno Bowl. This is the anniversary, our 52nd episode for Techno Tuesdays. That's one whole year of bringing the information to the family about the technology wave and whatnot, the whole technology boom. Okay, we're going to be doing a bunch of things next Tuesday. We're going to be at Spin City headquarters. We're going to be doing some giveaways. We're going to do a mini hackathon. We're going to have vendors in the building. So make sure that y'all pull up. All right. The tickets are on the QR code right there. You click the QR code with the bird in the middle. You could get tickets for the Techno Bowl. All right. And that is next Tuesday, March the 10th. Okay. Let's go to one of our sponsors and we'll be right back.
VCL in my cup, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by skim moss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. VCL in my cup, I'm feeling right. Sip to the sunrise, dance to the night. From the ocean's kiss to your city lights. 21 flavors, pure health in every bite. Drip so clean, we're custom made. From reef to street, we elevate. Gold green gel, set the record straight. Nature in a bottle, that's a better way. Charge me up, no caffeine crash. Clean energy, steady splash. From skin to gut, yeah, we live from within. Wellness on 10, let the rhythm begin. Pour it up, pour it up. Feel the wave, body thanking me. Every save, ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. They sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. Island breeze in the city maze. We're mineral rich in 1,000 ways. Immunity high like the summer rays. Hydrate the hustle, fuel your days. Berry, mango, ginger, lime. Pick your flow, your flavor, your time. Beauty and balance we redefine. Every little sip, align your shine. Wear it up, feel the way. Body thanking me for every step. Ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. We sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by steam moss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. From the coral choir to the heartbeat drum. Roots run deep where the wild tides hum. Real ones know where the glow comes from. We sell in the mix now, watch us.
Shout out to VCell CMOS. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we have class number 5 for the Imaginarium, what we call session number 5. We are on a 90-day workshop, ladies and gentlemen. 90-day workshop for our AI workshop. This is the Imaginarium, all right? The Imaginarium, blueprints in the planetarium. Make sure y'all pull up, get your tickets and whatnot. Let me put that up there. Boom. The QR code for the Imaginarium is there for anybody that wants to be a part of what it is that we're doing. Let's go to a commercial real quick.
In Brooklyn's shadow, dreams come alive. At dawn's new light, let your spirit thrive. Breathe in courage, let your strength ascend. Dark fire rise and let the power blend. Your aura's a beacon, luck finds its way. With bold steps forward, seize a new day. Shout it proud, success is my own fate. I'm glimmering now, it's time to elevate. I'm a magnet for dreams, success my claim. In sync with fortune, dancing in the game. Wealth cascades freely, triumph ignites. My heart's ready, soaring to new heights. Chant till it's a rhythm in your soul's beat. Fueling your drive, making goals complete. Your aura's a magnet, attracting sway. Dance with prosperity night into day. Riches may flow, but spirit stands tall. Growth the reward, answering the call. Money's a vessel, clarity's the map. No rush needed, wealth's in your grasp. No need to scheme, to hustle or to plead. Just rise up strong, live in your creed. Don't chase, simply receive what's conceived. Feel the rhythm of wealth you're meant to achieve.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tomorrow, 8 p.m., Imaginarium, only on Zoom. Pull up and be a part of history. We are over there making history. We are making mini movies, music, comics, toys, you name it. The Imaginarium is the place to be. So our imaginations could run wild. The best nation is the imagination. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you. I believe that I have something coming up tomorrow about DARPA. I have a special guest. We will make that announcement when we put the flyer up. Look out for that. You know what I'm talking about? That's going to be very informative, chock full of information. Look out for Saturday Night Live, Sacrilegious Sundays. Shout out to Blue Pillar and the family. All right, 1,000, y'all. Stay dangerous.
Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up the dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets snipped now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso. I pause in kitchens and caused addictions. I pause prescriptions and cause inflictions. Lil Bixby playing in stores and bricks and on the dark web. You gotta pause every door's cause encryption. Tesla engines, pause the pistons. I seen every floor I leave sore and listing. Enlist for that action, they sponsored the Bronson. They was hooked on that shit like Johnson and Johnson. That freeway, Ricky Ross, straight out of Compton, straight out of Bumpton. Red on blue, violence in the land. The projection of the will, the perfection of the kill, the reflection of the pills. I'm a frontline soldier, I'm no doja. These crystals not for folk. Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up the dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets snips now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso. Hickory dickory down, hit a lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot. Heavy in the pedal, we slip off a knot. Heavy in the ghetto, they crib walk a lot. Crib walk the crypto, lift off the stocks. Drips off the crystal and pots. Disco rods in the blocks on my chain from the crystal shop. In the light there, lift off the rock. Toe from the right chain on my block. White paint on my socks. White paint on my socks. Hickory dickory dock. Hit the lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot, we lick off a shot. Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up the dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets snips now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso.